Hello, good evening. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is Matchday Locals, Carabao Cup third round, Brentford against Arsenal. It is going to be an interesting game, as I'm sure we will see, and it's coming up the other side of this. So the Carabao Cup then, how seriously are Arsenal going to take this? Well, we're about to find out, because we have got some team news for you. This is the team news for tonight's game. So for Arsenal, in goal, Aaron Ramsdale, as we kind of expected. The back four, Takehiro Tomiyasu at right back, Ben White and Gabriel in the centre, Jacob Kiwior comes in at left back. In midfield, Jorginho captains the side tonight. Kai Havertz is in there as well. And Emil Smith-Rowe is playing in the Martin Odegaard role. And in the front three, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and a young player from the academy. Not often Mikel Arteta throws one in, but he has done it. It's Charles Sago Jr., a winger, who is playing in the front three tonight. On the bench then it's Carl Hine, Cedric Suarez, some more people from the academy, James Sweet, Royal Walters. We've got Alexander Zinchenko, Mohamed El Neni, Martin Odegaard, Mario Cozier-Dubry, and Gabriel Jesus. So that's the Arsenal side for tonight. A bit of experience on the bench should we need it later on. For Brentford, then they've gone pretty strong as well. Mark Flecken is in goal. They've got a back three, Nathan Collins, Matthias Jorgensen, and Ethan Pinnock. You've got Mads Roslev and Aaron Hickey as the wing backs, with Christian Norgard, Vitali, Janielt, and Frank Onyeka. And then the front two is Brian Mbeumo and Johan Wissa. They're basically front two from the Premier League side. So they're your team lineups. And what are we making of that then, guys? What do we think of the Arsenal lineup? Is this a lineup that you was expecting? And is it a lineup that you think Mikel Arteta is taking this competition reasonably seriously? I actually think that he is. And I've got to be honest with you, I'm reasonably happy with that lineup. It's got some experience in there. It's also got a debut for Charles Sago Jr. Don't know too much about him. Obviously, he's been doing well for the academy side, so it's going to be good to see him. A pacey winger. I always love a good pacey winger, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on at this level. Of course, big night for Emil Smith-Rowe, his first start of the season. A big opportunity for him to try and prove a point, and I'm sure he's got a point to prove as well, hasn't he? Let's be honest, he's not been in the team much, has he? Now, what I am trying to do is find the correct stream for this particular game, which I've had some links sent to me so we can find it, because obviously it's not available. Now, this goes to show, doesn't it, how corrupt our football is in this country. They'll allow the League Cup to be shown in other countries throughout the world, but they won't show the games live in England because of money. And if you think that that doesn't matter, that's not that important. Well, you think about it, they'll accept money to prevent you from watching the game in your own country. What else do you think they're taking money for? How corrupt do you think they are, the people running football? And this just kind of sums it up, really, doesn't it? You know, you can watch it in America, you can watch it in Canada, you can watch it in other places in the world, but you can't watch it in England. It's our League Cup competition, and because the TV rights are what they are, and that's basically the way we are. It's a bit of a joke, isn't it? But anyway, but Terry says, "Evening, Richard. Got a bad feeling about it." So, yeah, I mean, I think I've got a bad feeling about it tonight. Brentford are playing a pretty strong side, aren't they? A side that is, I don't know if it's what you would consider to be their definite first team, but it's certainly got a lot of their first team players in. Now, I'm just looking to see actually what channel I might be able to find this on. I think it might be on a DAZN channel somewhere. I'm not really sure which DAZN channel it's on. If anybody knows, then please let me know. I think DAZN Canada's got it on. I don't know exactly which DAZN Canada channel it is. Let's have a look. I'll flick through a few. I'm sure we'll find it. It'll be on one of them, won't it? Let's have a look and see. There's a lot of it about somewhere. It's just a matter of actually finding a channel. So unless anybody in the chat knows on a Fire Stick which channel is showing it, so I can find it a bit more easily. Because at the moment It's coming up. Let's have a look. We'll have a flick through a few and see what we can find. We've still got 10 minutes till kick-off, so we're not in any major rush, are we? I'm sure we'll get some coverage at some stage. We know it is on some of these channels somewhere. Unfortunately, I've got a rather old Fire Stick, so what happens is it doesn't have the program listing on it. It just says the channel name. So it isn't really much help, is it, in that sense? But anyway, I'm sure we'll find something in a minute. What's on this one here? This is a DAZN channel. So we'll see. No, nothing's really coming up on there. It'll be on one of these, I'm sure. It's supposed to be DAZN Canada. It's in DAZN Germany as well, but I'm not sure if I can get DAZN Germany on here. There's American football on that one, which we don't want. We're not interested in American football, are we? And there's some chess game going on there. We don't really want that, do we? Let's have a look. Super Sports. Is there a Super Sport? Yeah, it's a Super Sport Premier League's got it on, apparently. So let's have a look. Super Sport Premier League. That doesn't look like the Arsenal game, does it? Oh, it is. I found it. It is on there. Oh, well done. So we've got it. We've got some stream, guys. We've got a stream. We're going to watch the game. It's going to be good. Stay with us because you're going to enjoy this. It is Brentford against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. Now, if you remember last season, they had the Carabao Cup third round, didn't they? Just before the World Cup break. We played Brighton at the Emirates, and it was a really poor Arsenal performance, wasn't it? And we lost the game by 3-1, didn't we? Eddie Nketiah scored for Arsenal. We went 1-0 up in that game. No disgrace, of course, losing to Brighton, I suppose. But anyway, it wouldn't be a disgrace losing away to Brentford, really, would it? Because Brentford are now an established Premier League team. But I believe that realistically, we're probably not going to win the Premier League because of just Manchester City mainly. And secondly, we're probably not going to win the Champions League either because we've not been in the Champions League, have we, for so many years that it seems rather a lot to ask and expect Arsenal to win it in our first season back. So that only really leaves the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup that realistically we can win. Now, I believe Mikel Arteta this season needs to win a trophy. I really do. I think he needs to win a trophy. Whatever trophy it is doesn't matter too much. Yes, the Premier League or the Champions League would be amazing, but the chances of happening seem very slim. So I think the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, there is 2 chances to get a trophy, or both of them. And I would have gone, personally, I would have gone a little bit stronger in teams like, yes, I know we've got some injuries. And people go, oh, you've got to protect the players. Well, players get injured in training. Players get injured on international duty. So if they're going to get injured, they're going to get injured. That's, yes, the more games they play, the more likely they are to get injured. Yes, I would go along with that. But I'm not saying to play the full team. I'm not too disappointed in the side. You look at the experience that we've got here, apart from the young winger, Charles Sago Jr. We haven't really got, everybody else has played Premier League games for Arsenal. They've got experience in different competitions. So it's not an outside Arsenal side, is it? If you remember back in the days of Arsene Wenger, we used to play after the academy team, didn't we, in this competition? And sometimes they'd do pretty well, wouldn't they? We had some good runs in it. But I think you can tell by the team that we maybe Arteta is taking this a little bit more seriously than he did last year. And maybe one of the reasons for that is because he knows there is this pressure on him to win a trophy this season, and we're going to see tonight exactly how seriously we take this. It's going to be a tough game because Brentford, I say that they've gone reasonably strong with their lineup as well, haven't they? I mean, I'm looking at through their team. Most of them players have played in the Premier League. I haven't watched them much, so I don't know what their general 11 is, but I recognise all these names in their team. So I'm assuming that most of them, if they're not playing regular this season, they've played in the Premier League over the last couple of years for Brentford. So it's a strong Brentford team. They've got a few players on the bench that we've heard of as well. Matthias Jensen, of course. Saman Godas, we know him, don't we, from the World Cup, of course, when he played for Iran against England. And they've got a couple of youngsters as well. Keane Lewis Potter, who's played in the Premier League for them. They've got Ethan Briley as well, a young player from their academy. So, they've got a bit of a mixture, but their first 11 tonight is a strong 11. And our first 11, our start 11 tonight is a reasonably strong 11 as well, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's not a really, really weak team. So I think that, you can see that Arteta is taking this quite seriously, and let's hope that it pays off. And I think if we can get through this game tonight, it keeps. I love a good cup run, and maybe Arsenal fans of my generation, the League Cup was the first trophy I saw us win. which was in 1987. So I've always kind of liked the League Cup, and I haven't really liked the fact over recent years it's taken a back seat, hasn't it? The Champions League's taken over, and teams would rather finish in the top four or finish one place higher up the Premier League than have a run in the League Cup. You saw Crystal Palace last night. What are Crystal Palace going to do this season? They're just going to finish in mid-table somewhere. Surely having a run in a cup competition would be a good thing for them. And they played an understrength team and got well beaten at Manchester United. And I don't understand that mindset. At least Brentford tonight, they've gone with a strong team. Brentford aren't going to win anything else, are they? The only thing they can hope to win would probably be this competition. So, of course, they're going to go strong. Why not go for it? Try and have a good run. Get your team to Wembley. Do you know what I mean? It seems madness not to, especially for the teams outside of that top 6 or top 7, top 8 in the Premier League. Why not? Try and win a cup competition. And I think for Arsenal, I think Mikel Arteta's got some pressure this season to win. Now, the teams are in the tunnel. Brentford are in their traditional home shirts of red and white stripes. Arsenal are in the horrible, luminous yellow monstrosity of a kit, which we're going to have to suffer tonight, unfortunately. But hopefully we won't wear it too often this season. Aaron Ramsdale is back in goal. He's wearing all blue. The two captains, I'll say Jorginho is captain for Arsenal tonight, probably one of the most experienced player in the side. And the captain for Brentford is Christian Norgard. I think they're captain generally anyway, isn't he? So that's just the way it is. Terry says, I don't think we're winning anything under Arteta. He has had his way and that's it. The other problem is half our fans can't see him doing no wrong and back him no matter what. No, you're right. And I do think that's an issue. I mean, I feel that my criticisms of Mikel Arteta have been fair in what's happened on the pitch and off the pitch. I don't think I've not randomly just decided, he's no good. It's been the decisions that he's made and what's gone on. And I'm still not convinced that he is the right. I agree with you, Terry. We feel the same about him. I don't feel he's the right man that's going to take us to that next level. I think he's took us pretty much maybe as far as it's possible for him to take us. I think that's probably where we are. And if we want to go to that next level now, I think we're going to need someone else. I really do. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. And I hope we do win trophies under him. I hope we win a trophy this season. I hope we keep winning trophies going forward. I'm just not convinced that he's going to be the man to do it. And that's from the evidence that we've seen. As soon as the pressure's on, as soon as it matters, he doesn't seem to be able to handle that. And that comes across to the players. And you look at the players as well. You look at the sort of players that he signs. There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there? We're playing Brentford tonight of Ivan Toney coming to Arsenal, and there's no way, there's no way Mikel Arteta will sign Ivan Toney. Not because he's not a good player or he wouldn't improve the team. You've got to look at it, right? How many Arsenal players have got tattoos everywhere? None, really. And he has, and it's like he's not a character, is he? He's banned currently for the betting thing, isn't he? That's not the sort of character of player that Arteta will buy. It's an exciting signing. It's a sort of player that would improve this team, but it's not the sort of signing Mikel Arteta will make. So we're not going to sign him. And there's talk today, of course, of Ollie Watkins at Aston Villa. And he would be, I don't think he's as good, personally, as Ivan Toney, but he's a more Arteta sort of player, isn't he? And you look at this, you look at the team, we've got very, very similar type of players, haven't we? Throughout the whole team. And I do feel as though that's why Ivan Toney isn't an Arteta player. He's not. And we're not going to sign him. So let's forget that idea for anything else. The referee tonight, it was Darren Bond, but actually it's Peter Banks. I don't know what's happened there, whether there's been a change. Anyway, the young lad, Charles Sago Jr. is making his debut wearing the number 71 shirt. So he's one to look out for tonight, isn't he? A very, very pacey winger. No one knows too much about him from Brentford, I'm sure. And he may be the key to Arsenal tonight, maybe playing in the Saka position for this game. Unusual for Mikel Arteta to give an academy player a start. He's not done that for a long time, has he? Since the Europa League from a couple of years ago. Anyway, it is going to be Brentford to kick off, attacking the goal to our right, which is the end where the Arsenal fans are, in the G-Tech Stadium at Brentford. Those who know the stadium are quite a new stadium, of course. They moved from Griffin Park, didn't they, a few years ago? And they've enjoyed a lot of success, haven't they, in the Premier League? And of course, it was their first ever game in the Premier League was against us, wasn't it? Here, that game a couple of years ago. It's actually our sort of kick-off. Eddie Nketiah plays it back to Aaron Ramsdale. Have you noticed when Aaron Ramsdale's in goal, we always start like this? In the last three games, when we've had David Raya in goal, we've kicked off differently. But there we went straight back to Aaron Ramsdale, and he's hoofed it long up the pitch, which is what we always do when he's in goal. And that's sort of telling, isn't it, maybe? Anyway, there's a mistake there from Gabriel. He slips, and Brentford are coming forward down this near side straight away. Inside the first minute, we've got a habit of conceding very early goals, although usually that's at the Emirates, isn't it? We haven't conceded away from home, actually, this season. Our 2 away games in the Premier League both ended in 1-0 victories, so let's hope that this will go the same way. But obviously, it's not this usual Arsenal team, is it? Anyway, Kirill wins his header there, heads the ball down towards Reece Nelson, who was fouled. Good to see Reece Nelson getting a start. And, of course, Emil Smith-Rowe as well. Big night for these 2 young Arsenal. Well, say young. They're not that young anymore, are they? I was saying earlier, they've actually been in the Arsenal first-team squad longer than Arteta's been manager. And they're still considered to be young players. It's strange, isn't it? But they've both got a big opportunity tonight to maybe show the manager that they can actually perform against a tough Premier League team away from home, and that's something that we've not always done so well, have we? I mean, in the 2 games we've visited here in the Premier League, we've won 1 and lost 1. We did win last season, of course. Aaron Ramsdale's come right out of his goal to head that ball away, but it was offside against Johan Wissa anyway, and it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal. We played 2 minutes. Terry says there, plus Chelsea have got a lot of crap they need to get rid of for Arteta to take his pick from. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm sure he'll buy a few more. He loves a good Chelsea player, doesn't he? Or ex-Chelsea player. Terry says, come on, you Gunners, don't let us down. No, let's hope we put in a good performance. Kai Havertz, big night for him as well, isn't it? Back in the starting team. He's had a couple of games off the bench due to he's struggling to settle. But anyway, Smith-Rowe plays the ball out to that far side to Ben White, who's more of a player as a centre-back, or started as a centre-back anyway. But anyway, Smith-Rowe touches the ball off to Jorginho, sitting in that Declan Rice role that we now call it, don't we? The Declan Rice role is what we call it now. You know, Eddie Nketiah coming deep to get the ball over on that far side. Arsenal just knocking the ball around quite comfortably at the moment. Jorginho in the centre plays it to Kirill on his near side. The pole plays it up the line to Reece Nelson. A slightly different looking Arsenal team, this, isn't it, from what we've been used to seeing. Anyway, let's say they got Tomiyasu, a rare start for him as well. Almost playing as 3 centre halves, Arsenal, which with Kirill dropping in to a more central position as Zinchenko does. Anyway, Kirill now plays the ball out to this near side. Reece Nelson is going to have a run at Aaron Hickey, I think it is there, isn't it? I know, Roselev, sorry. Anyway, the ball's now played out to the other side to Ben White. Over on the far side, Arsenal's right now, the youngster, Charles Sago Jr. finds Tomiyasu, gets it back again, the young man. Let's see what he's got about him. A nice little ball there, though, to Emil Smith-Rowe. Tomiyasu again plays it back into the centre circle. Gabriel gives it back again to Tomiyasu. Dinks the ball over the top over on that far side for the youngster there. Couldn't get a good touch on it, though, and Brentford managed to tidy that up. We've got Barley having a chat here, my friend. He says, big up, mate, Havertz and ESR score. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice if they did. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a tough one. I'd like to see this young Sago Jr. get a goal, actually. That would be good, wouldn't it? On his debut. Great night for him. Big night for him and his family, I'm sure. And what an occasion it is to be making your Arsenal debut. 4 minutes played. It is still Brentford 0, Arsenal 0. And not too much has happened in terms of goal mouth threat, but Arsenal trying to come forward now. It is Sago Jr. over on that far side, does well. Plays the ball back in to Jorginho, pings it forward. Arsenal now looking to try to get an attack going here. Tomiyasu plays it square to Gabriel. Arsenal knocking the ball around. The game's being played inside the Brentford half at the moment. Bargav says he was hoping where he started. Yeah, I mean, it was this fixture last season, wasn't it, when he came on? Not quite sure. He's not even had a sniff of the first team since, has he? He's not even on the bench. I don't think, is he injured at the minute? What's going on? Because he's not even on the bench, is he? Anyway, it's a throw to Brentford over on that far side. Arsenal made a bit of a mistake there. Anyway, so Terry says, I'd like anyone from Arsenal. Yeah, true, but certain players maybe could do with a goal, couldn't they? More than others, maybe. Be nice. It would be nice for Kai Havertz to get a goal, wouldn't it? might give him some confidence. And, you know, whatever we think of Kai Havertz, however we think he's settled in the team, he's going to be an important player for us. He's going to play a lot of minutes this season in the various competitions, isn't he? So we need him to play well. We need him to do well and settle. So maybe in getting a goal tonight might be what he needs. Anyway, Brentford are coming forward now with Roslev on this near side. Finds Wissa, lays it back off to Roslev. Plays it into the centre to Ethan Pinnock, the Jamaican. Brentford playing this free at the back system. Bargav says that Arteta easing him, which I find mad. Lamin, Yomat, and Gavi start at 16. Yeah, well, some players do. It's only a matter of when with Havertz. Hopefully that Chelsea rush. But yeah, I mean, I think Havertz will eventually be fine. It's just if it doesn't happen for him soon, it's going to become more and more difficult, isn't it? Because the more pressure's on him as the games go on, and the criticism builds up, and unfortunately that's the nature of football, isn't it? And I do feel as though he's going to have to start playing a little bit better, having a bit more of an impact in games very, very quickly. I mean, Arsenal made a bit of a mess at the back. Brentford are going to get an opportunity, but the ball runs through to Aaron Ramsdale. Wissa there making a nuisance of himself, which he tends to do, doesn't he? He's a pest, isn't he? Johan Wissa. And he certainly caused a few problems there inside the Arsenal penalty area, but Arsenal survived. Ramsdale goes long up this near side looking for Reece Nelson, who's playing on the left. He's done well in that position, hasn't he, when he's played in recent games towards the end of last season as well. So we'll see. Terry says, I'm hoping Havertz has gone in January. Well, there's absolutely no chance that happening. The contract that he's on, there's absolutely no chance. So I'd forget about that. That's definitely a mistake at the back by Brentford. Arsenal are in. The ball comes back across looking for Reece Nelson. And Reece Nelson puts it in. Second attempt, 7 minutes played. Arsenal lead in this difficult-looking Carabao Cup tie. Arsenal are in front. Incredible start, really. It was a mistake at the back from Brentford there. It's a bad back pass, actually. The ball, Eddie Nketiah pulled it back, and Reece Nelson took his time and slotted it in. It was a really bad back pass, actually. Good play from Eddie Nketiah. A mistake again at the back, and then Reece Nelson just slotted it into the corner. Really, really cool finish that was there. He couldn't have anticipated Nathan Collins missing that ball, actually, and he did. And Reece Nelson slots it in. And Arsenal get an early lead in the Carabao Cup. Bargav says there, Reece, that's good for him. Indeed, it is. Terry says, get in there, Reece. Indeed. Good to see Reece Nelson on the score sheet. A lovely taken goal, even though I'm pretty sure the Brentford defence won't want to look at that again. Really, really poor defending from them, but we don't care. We've taken advantage, and in this Carabao Cup tie, Arsenal have got the early lead. Just 8 minutes played, and Reece Nelson has put Arsenal ahead. And it might be a horrible kit, but it is a nice start to the game for Arsenal. And we are 1-0 up. Anyway, it's a throw to Brentford. It's a throw to Arsenal on our own half over on that far side, in line with Arsenal's penalty area. Ben White takes it, goes long, headed forward, and Brentford now looking for an instant response. They're inside the penalty area on that far side, but that cross is over hit. I think it was Wissa again. It was Wissa again. It's gone out for a goal kick, or it might even be a throw, actually, to Arsenal over on this near side. Bargav says there, Terry, the only person that needs loaning is number 14. I agree with you there, definitely. He did have an assist there, though, which was nice, but yeah, you're right. Bargav says there, if Havertz didn't start at Chelsea, he would get half the year. But yeah, he got an assist there, didn't he? I know he's not really been playing that well recently. Anyway, Reece Nelson, of course, got that goal now coming forward for Arsenal, plays the ball back to Kiwior, and Arsenal looking in control of this game in these first 10 minutes, which is maybe not what we were quite expecting. But still early days, of course, in this cup side. Don't forget, of course, in the Carabao Cup this season, there's no extra time or replays. It goes straight to penalties if it's a draw. Obviously, hopefully, it won't be a draw, will it? Because we're now winning. And it's not often that we lose games when we're in front, do we? Not very often. So let's hope that that's going to be the case tonight. Kiwior now coming forward for Arsenal on this near side. Finds a goal scorer at Reece Nelson. Cuts back in field, plays it square in to Gabriel. He just touches it off to Jacob Kiwior, the pole. Well, it wasn't a great ball from him. Back to Gabriel. Put on a bit of pressure there by Mbeumo, but it's cleared away by Arsenal. But that ball is comes in, but it's not a great cross. It's headed behind though for a corner to Arsenal. Slightly overhit that cross there, but a good little bit of interplay there over on that far side. And it was Kiwior actually who got forward from left back, put that cross in, and it was just overhit, but it's headed behind it. It's going to be a corner to Arsenal. Gabriel comes forward for this corner. It's going to be Emil Smith-Rowe to take it from that far side, Arsenal's right. Let's see what sort of ball he can put in here. Arsenal got a lot of height in that penalty. Havertz is in there. Kiwior's in there. Let's see what the ball's like from Emil Smith-Rowe towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away though by Brentford, and they might be able to launch a counter-attack here actually with Mbeumo over on the far side. This is where Brentford are really dangerous. That's a nice ball as well to Wissa coming through. There's a man over here on this near side. Oh, the ball wasn't great actually, and Arsenal can get back. It's Reece Nelson, and he's fouled actually there by Janelt. It was Vitali Janelt, the German, who the ball to him there wasn't a great ball, was it? It was behind him, and he had to readjust his position. Had it been in front of him, he would have had a run in on goal. But it was a good counter attack by Brentford. This is what they are really good at. Brilliant play from Mbeumo. A lovely ball actually. Wissa got it stuck under his feet a little bit, and then his pass made it really difficult. But great defensive work there from Reece Nelson to get back. He was then actually didn't look like there was much in that actually, to be fair. But anyway, it was given as a free kick to Arsenal. And that's a long ball there from the free kick there from Ramsdale. Kiwior heads it forward. Kiwior again underneath that one. Gabriel lofts it forward up this near side. Eddie Nketiah is after it. He's going to get there, is he? No, he's not. Good defending there, actually. Really good defending. In fact, it's a free kick. Anyway, there it was. Roselev there. Good battle that was, actually. Terry says, in my opinion, there's at least 4 players on that pitch tonight that aren't good enough to wear our badge. I don't know, really. I mean, some of them we can't judge yet, really. I mean, I think we're going to leave Charles Sago Jr. out of this conversation because, you know, it's his first game and he's only a young lad, isn't he? I think, obviously, one of the ones that you referred to is Eddie Nketiah, which I agree with. Other than that, though, you look through the team and you think, well, actually, you know, you need a squad, don't you? You're not going to win anything with 11 players or 12 or 13 players. You do need a squad. And this season, we've got better depth than we had last season. And that cost us last season quite a bit, didn't it? And you can see, you know, we've got better depth now, haven't we? You know, this isn't exactly the second string 11, although a lot of these players won't be playing in the Premier League on Saturday, will they? You wouldn't imagine. Gabriel, Ben White are probably the only two that you can guarantee will definitely start at Bournemouth. There's going to be a lot of changes, isn't there? But having said that, you know, players like Tomiyasu, decent enough players, can do a good job when needed. Jacob Kiwior, I think I'm quite excited what he can bring us going forward when he plays. I think he's a decent squad player. You know, Jorginho, of his experience, can do a job in this team. And you know, you need players like that. If Declan Rice is out, you need a player like Jorginho to come in. You know, Arsenal are coming forward again. Charles Sano Jr. there with a cross, but it was cleared away by Brentford. We've played nearly 15 minutes here at the G-Tech Stadium. Brentford, of course, their new stadium. Another mistake at the back from Brentford. It's another corner to Arsenal, actually. Brentford are causing their own problems at the moment, aren't they, with some poor defensive play. And the manager there, Thomas Frank, not looking particularly impressed with some of the defending he's seen from his team in these opening 15 minutes. Oh, excuse me. Smith Rowe again with his corner over on that far side. Again, we've got the big boys in the box, haven't we? Gabriel's in there, Tomiyasu's in there, Ben White, Havertz, Kiwior. We've got some height. Let's see what this ball's like this time. Smith Rowe again to the edge of the 6-yard box. Again, it's headed away by Brentford. And in fact, there's a free kick given anyway. There was a foul by Eddie inside the penalty area. And it's going to be a free kick to Brentford. Brentford 0, Arsenal 1. That early goal from Reiss Nelson, which was great, wasn't it? Nice finish from him. Showed a lot of composure there inside the penalty, didn't he, to put that away and give Arsenal this early lead in this Carabao Cup tie. Still a long way to go now, of course. And there's a few other ties tonight, isn't there? There was a few last night. The majority are being played tonight, of course. The holders, Manchester United, are through. Last season's runners-up, Newcastle, are playing tonight against Manchester City. So that's going to be an interesting game. I haven't actually seen the team in that. I'll have a look at half-time, go through the team news there, see who's playing for Man City as well, who's rested players and who's taking this competition a little bit more seriously. But this is a good opportunity for some of these players to get some minutes on the pitch, because that's one criticism that I've had, is that some of these players, like the Jorginho thing at the weekend when he gave that ball away, I believe that part of that, not all of it, but part of that is down to the fact that he's coming into a team, he's coming into a game and he's not been playing much, and he's a little bit off the pace. And I do feel as though it's important, the players need to be playing competitive minutes, because when they're needed, they need to come in and be able to hit the ground running. And sometimes if you've not played competitive football, you're not going to be able to do that. And I think that was a little bit of the issue with Jorginho. I'm not saying that excuses a mistake. He had plenty of time to pass that ball and he didn't. But had he been playing more regularly, had he been a little bit sharper, maybe he would have got away with that and he wouldn't have made that same error. So games like this are important, aren't they, for some of these, well, most of these players, because they're not playing enough football, are they? And if we do need them to play in the Premier League, they need to have competitive minutes in them. That's a good ball there, actually. Sogo Junior ever cross in towards the edge of the box there. It's headed away, though, by Brentford. And Smith Rowe brings that ball down, but he's tackled there. And now Brentford again will try and launch a counter-attack, but they won't do there because Arsenal won the ball back, but unfairly there, says that the referee. And it is going to be a free kick to Brentford. We've played 17 and a half minutes here at Brentford. It is Arsenal 1-0 ahead. That early goal after just 8 minutes from Reiss Nelson. Lovely cool finish and bad defending, actually, you have to say. But yeah, a lovely cool finish. Terry says, it's okay having a squad, but we haven't got a good squad. The drop-off with Partey, Rice, Trossard and Martinelli missing. We go from great first team to Tim Pot Chelsea standards. See, I don't know, last season, that was definitely the case. The drop-off last season was massive, and we saw it so many times. And I'm not saying a drop-off isn't still there. Of course it is. It's impossible to have two top quality squads, isn't it? I mean, maybe Man City, you could say, have got that, but look at the money that they've got, and their situation is totally different to ours, isn't it? So it's difficult to get to. What you do need to have is you need to have squad players who can come in and do a job when needed. That's what you need. You don't necessarily need your squad players, all your squad players, to be able to play every week in the Premier League, for example. No, you just need them to be able to come in when they need to come in and be able to do a job. And last season, we didn't have that, did we? Every time Arteta made changes last season, we ended up generally losing games because the squad players weren't up to it. This season, you can see we've improved the quality of those squad players. Yes, I'm not saying that this team, this starting 11 tonight, would challenge for the top four. It probably wouldn't do in the Premier League, would it? But this team won't play as an 11, will they, in the Premier League? You wouldn't imagine, because even when we've got injuries, we're not going to have 10 players out or 9 players out injured, are we? At the same time, to have this sort of team playing, so it doesn't really matter, does it? It's good for these players to get minutes, and I don't think it's not a really, really weak Arsenal team, is it? I think we've got some quality on the pitch, and we're winning this game, a difficult game against a strong Brentford side. They haven't rested players, have they? They've got pretty much their strongest. They've got a long throw here on this near side, and I know they're quite dangerous from these situations. It is going to come in now. In fact, it goes short. It looked like it was going to be long, and maybe they should have played it long, but they haven't. Maybe they've got something else in store. I think that's Norgard there, plays that ball over to the far side. Oh, it's poor defending from Arsenal. Shot comes in, it's blocked by Tomiyasu. I'm not sure who made that poor clearance. Wasn't a great clearance at all. That almost presented Brentford with an equaliser. Not great. Bargav says GA lovers won't like it, but Havertz doing the little things. Yeah, Havertz is doing all right tonight. He's doing all right. He's not nothing special, but he's doing okay, isn't he? Terry says, I see it. We lost Xhaka and replaced him with Rice. Other than that, I don't see no improvement. Well, I mean, that was Ben White's actual clearance there that almost led to that goal, or almost led to that chance. Sorry, good defending from Tomiyasu. See, I don't know. You look at this team. Tomiyasu's a decent enough defender, isn't he? You know, he's good enough to come in and do a job. No problems there. Kiwior, I'm quite happy with him, and he only came in January, didn't he? So he wasn't really there last season much. And he's a decent player. You look in midfield, Smith Rowe, we know his quality. Look how well he did 2 years ago when he kept Mikel Arteta in a job. You know, we know he's got the quality. Jorginho's got so much experience. I actually think Jorginho had a decent season last year from January when we bought him. I really do. I think he did well. And he's a decent squad player. You know, he's better than most squad players at other teams in the Premier League. So I think he's okay. Yeah, Havertz, we're not sure about him yet, but we know he has got ability. He's won a Champions League. Reece Nelson, yeah, a decent young player. And I think with more minutes, he'll become even better. Eddie, of course, is the one that he's had plenty of opportunities and hasn't really managed to do it, has he? So he's the big weakness still. The centre forward position is our weakness, isn't it? We need to sign and strengthen. I say we mentioned Ivan Toney before. There's no way Arteta's buying him. Ollie Watkins is an interesting one. Is he what we need, Ollie Watkins? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I think he's an okay player. He scores a lot of goals in the Premier League in the last couple of years, doesn't he? He's a good player. Is he what we really need, though, to take us to that next level? I'm not. I think we need someone a bit better than him. But anyway, let's see. Brentford are coming forward at the moment now with Wissa over on that far side. Cuts inside the penalty. Dinks across in. Good header away. But it doesn't really go that far, just outside there. It's in Buemo now. Keeps that ball alive. And plays it back. And Brentford just having a bit of a spell now. We're midway through this first half. Arsenal do still lead 1-0. Bargav says it can be a struggle between fit for the team versus elite. Of course, yeah, exactly. You're not going to get elite players in your squad, are you? Elite players will be playing in your first 11, and your backups have got to be decent players, but they're going to be a slight step down, aren't they? Anyway, also coming forward now, Kai Havertz. Is he going to have a big impact in this game? That's a decent ball. Finds goal scorer Reece Nelson. That's another good ball to Emile Smith Rowe, playing in the Erdegaard position tonight. Just touches that ball off to Ben White, gets it back again. Smith Rowe. Arsenal keeping possession now, taking the sting out of what had been a little bit of a Brentford revival in this game for 5 minutes. But Arsenal now back in control again. Jacob Kiwior plays it square to Jorginho, very sensible. That's a good ball to Smith Rowe. A nice touch from Smith Rowe on the end of the box. A shot though is blocked. Comes back to Jorginho again. That was a good move from Arsenal. Comes out now to Kiwior again. Finds Reece Nelson on this near side. Plays it to the edge of the box. Eddie Nketiah gets past one. Challenge inside the area. Finds Reece Nelson again. Twists and turns. He's got Kiwior outside him. Doesn't choose to use him. I mean, maybe he should have done. He went into a bit of trouble there, Reece Nelson. And Brentford cleared that away, but only as far as Gabriel. Bargab says here, Madison for the price would have been good. Yeah, he absolutely would have been brilliant. He would have been a great signing, wouldn't he? You know, you got to say now, if you had a choice between Madison and Havertz, who would you get? Obviously, you'd get Madison, wouldn't you? But we didn't. And that's the way it's gone. For whatever reason, we got Havertz instead. And we're going to have to, or he's going to have to prove his worth because we paid a lot of money for him. We're paying him a decent wage. He needs to show his worth. Anyway, Reece Nelson now on his near side for Arsenal. Terry said, the last time Havertz had a good game was 4 years ago back in Germany. What makes you think Arteta will turn him into Pele? Well, I don't think he's going to turn him into Pele, is he? And on another almost a poor ball. In fact, it was Arsenal gave it away. It was Tomiyasu there. And Jorginho got him out of trouble there. Good defensive play there from Jorginho, actually. Tomiyasu's pass was poor and it almost gifted Brentford. I mean, two of Brentford's biggest opportunities in this first half have been caused by our mistakes, but then our goal was caused by their mistakes. I suppose it's swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it? I mean, yeah, Arteta doesn't have a great record, does he, of improving players, really? So will he be able to improve Havertz? Time will tell. Maybe Havertz will fit in as time goes on. I'm not sure. But anyway, Brentford are coming forward now. It's a good run, actually. It's a really good run. A nice ball inside as well to Wissa. Good defending though from Gabriel, and Arsenal now can bring the ball away with Emil Smith-Rowe. Plays it out to that far side to Charles Sago Jr., the young man on his debut. Hasn't done too much wrong yet, has he? He's shown some nice touches. Looking a little bit nervous, maybe. He's not running past people, but it's understandable, isn't it? In his first game, young lad making his debut, he's not going to necessarily straight away, is he, go mad and start taking people on. I'm sure we'll see more of him as the game goes on in the attacking sense. I'm sure he'll contribute a lot more, but for the time being, he's just easing his way in, isn't he? Showing some nice little touches and doing what he can to help the team. Anyway, Kyrgios flicks that ball on his near side, but there's no Arsenal player anywhere near it. And it's going to be easy for Matthias Jorgensen to bring this ball away. In fact, it's Roslev, sorry. Mads Roslev, the Danish defender. Got a few Danish players, haven't they, Brentford, in their team. Not surprising, given who their manager is, I suppose. And, of course, they did have Christian Eriksen as well, didn't they? Was it last season or was it the season before? Season before, was it, where he was on loan and did well, didn't he, at Brentford? Brentford are in possession at the moment. At the back, though, knocking it around fairly comfortably without causing too many issues for us. Goes back to the goalkeeper, Flecken, of course, the replacement for David Raya, who has been left at home tonight and having the night off. He's had a busy couple of weeks, hasn't he? But in his first couple of games in the Arsenal team, and it's a goal kick there on Onyeka and Gabriel in a challenge for the ball. And it's, in fact, the referee's given a corner to Brentford. Did that come off Gabriel? It may well have done, actually. Difficult to really tell from that angle, but it is a corner to Brentford. I think it's their first corner or second corner, isn't it? This was on the near side. That's the first one they've had on this near side. And it's going to be Mbeumo to take it. He's a player I really like, actually. I think he's a very, very good player. He's fast, skillful, and very, very good. That corner comes into the near post. Almost flicked on there, but Arsenal did manage to scramble that away. A little bit fortunate maybe there we were. It was Wissa coming in on that near post. Brentford are very, very good at set pieces, aren't they? Something that we could maybe learn a thing or two from. They're very, very clever with how they approach their set pieces. It almost brought them a goal there. Terry says Chelsea have had top managers and they couldn't make Havertz shine. He's had more chances than Eddie. Well, he had more chances at Chelsea, I suppose, but I don't really care what he did at Chelsea. It's irrelevant. It's what he does at Arsenal I care about, and so far he hasn't done enough. Definitely not. But it's still very early days, isn't it? Bargav says, is Brentford a team that will have stability in the Premier? Well, they seem to have done, don't they? They've certainly, established themselves in the Premier League now. They don't look as though they're going to go down this season either, because there's a lot worse teams than them. So, yeah, they've established themselves. A long throw this time from Jorgensen towards the near post, flicked away by Kai Havertz. It comes back to Jorgensen, but that cross is really, really poor. It's gone behind for a goal kick to Arsenal. And that was Matthias Jorgensen, another Danish player. So they've got a few, haven't they? Norgard, Jakobsen, Roslev. Have they got any more? I think that's it. Oh, they've got one on the bench as well, Matthias Jansen as well. But yeah, given their manager, I suppose that's obvious, isn't it? But yeah, I think Brentford have established themselves in the Premier League now. Yeah, I think they've got a stability there. And they're in a position that, you can see them. They remind me a little bit of Brighton, don't they? They've got, they get some good talent in, and then, they've got the option to sell them on. David Raya, of course, has come to Arsenal. And they've got one or two others. They've got, obviously, Ivan Toney could be the next big name to leave, I suppose, potentially, when his band's over. And they've got some other players that they could certainly make some money on. I think Mbeumo is a very good player. I would quite like him at Arsenal. He would be a good option, wouldn't he, in that front three as a backup maybe for Saka, or even as he can play as a centre forward as well. He seems like a sort of player that Arteta would like, actually, because he's quite versatile, isn't he, across that front three. But anyway, we can't buy anybody until January, so we'll forget about transfers until then. There's enough nonsense about transfers when the transfer window's open, let alone when it isn't. So let's concentrate on the players that we have got. Reece Nelson almost gets himself in trouble there in the middle of the pitch, but actually does well in the end. Plays the ball back to Jorginho, and now Arsenal have broken the press and coming forward. Was that a foul there? Referee says no, and now Jacob Kirion got a little bit of space on his near side. Eddie Nketiah's got outside him this time. Kirion decides not to pass to Eddie, but then he does, and now it's with Reece Nelson. Arsenal playing quite well, actually, you have to say, in this opening half an hour. Reece Nelson again on his near side, Arsenal's early goal scorer. Plays the ball back to Kirion. Now it's with Jorginho, and he can switch the ball over to that far side. Ben White. He's got Sago Jr. over on that far side. Gets the ball, the young man gives it back again to Ben White. That's what he's done well. He's done that well, hasn't he? He's not taken any risks, has he, yet, though? He's just getting the ball, keeping possession, and he's done that well. And it's been a decent opening half an hour. Anyway, Arsenal now looking to come forward. Smith Rowe inside the penalty. Lovely feet from Smith Rowe. Is it going to be a goal? Oh, good save with his legs there from Flecken. Almost a great goal from Emil Smith Rowe. Brilliant feet from him inside the penalty area. That's the Emil Smith Rowe we loved from a couple of years ago, isn't it? He's got that quality about him, hasn't he? Yeah, made that run into the box. Lovely feet. Look at this. Brilliant, brilliant feet there. Goes past one, goes past another, and almost got it in the corner. But a decent save, actually, from the goalkeeper with his legs. Almost a third. When was the last time Emil Smith Rowe scored? It must be 2 years ago. And he almost got himself a goal there. Brilliant, brilliant play that was there from Emil Smith Rowe. That throw, though, from Jacob Kirion's gone straight out for a goal kick. And is that going to be on Sunday? Of course, we missed the chance to go 2-0 up, didn't we? And it ended up costing us. Is that going to be a big moment in this game? It was a good save, this one, though. It wasn't a miss by Smith Rowe. It was a really good play. And it was a really good save with his leg there by Mark Flecken, the Dutch goalkeeper, David Raya's replacement. And he takes this goal kick up that far side. Decent ball, actually, but it's gone behind for a throw to Arsenal. And the rain is coming down in West London, as indeed it is throughout the country, isn't it, with this storm that's brewing. I was out for a run earlier, very windy and wet, so feels like a storm's coming, doesn't it? Bargam says Emil scored in the summer. No, but I mean, in like his last proper Arsenal goal in a competitive game for Arsenal. It's been a long time. Anyway, we're coming forward again with Smith Rowe, plays it square to Eddie Nketiah. Now, Kai Havertz in the box. Is this his moment? Oh, he lacked conviction in that finish. He got hit the defender. And maybe a more confident Kai Havertz would have maybe got a better effort away there. He didn't look like he had confidence there, did he? Anyway, also coming forward again, but good defensive play that time from Jorgensen. And now Brentford can launch one of these counter-attacks that they're so dangerous at, trying to get Mbeumo in, but Gabriel does well. Terry says, if Timber hadn't got injured, who do you think isn't getting in our first team? Well, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? When Timber is back. I mean, it might not be for a long time. And Gabriel was the one who was left out, wasn't he, when Timber was playing? I wonder what's going to happen when he's back. We'll have to see, won't we? Anyway, Brentford now in possession, but Kai Havertz there, though, had a bit of an opportunity, didn't he? Just inside the box there, cutting onto his right foot, and the finish did lack conviction, and it hit the defender that was in front of him. And I say that looked more like a player lacking confidence. Anyway, Brentford now trying to come forward themselves. And they have looked dangerous when they've attacked Brentford in this game. They move the ball well, don't they? They're a nice team to watch. Play very good football. Anyway, Nathan Collins now plays out of his near side to Jorgensen. And now Brentford, which is a good play actually from Brentford. A cross comes in into the free shot. Oh, he put it wide. Whisper it was. Left unmarked inside the penalty area there. Not great defending from Arsenal. The defence was asleep there. I don't know what happened. It was a decent ball in. Didn't look like it was going to pose too many problems at first, but then Wissa came in completely unmarked inside the penalty and really should have hit the target there. That was a big, big opportunity for Brentford. A really big one there. We've got Trap there, says, I hate to say, but feel Arsenal are missing a 37-year-old number 9 type player. I wonder if there's anyone available. Well, I don't know about that, but we're certainly missing a centre forward. There's no doubt about that. But anyway, Brentford coming forward again, trying to get clear down this near side. Reece Nelson there shuffles the Brentford player over. Referee says carry on, and now Arsenal can try and come forward with Reece Nelson, who looked like he was fouled, but the referee says no again. Bargo says, what a pass there from Norgard. It was, yeah, it was a lovely ball. I don't know who was supposed to be marking or who was picking up Wissa, because nobody did. And really, he should have hit the target, let's be honest. Anyway, Flecken is back in possession for Brentford inside his penalty area. And that was a big moment that for Brentford there, wasn't it? So close to the equaliser. And it just goes to show that this game certainly isn't won yet, is it? We've played 35 minutes and we are looking reasonably in control. But I say Brentford have looked good when they've come forward on the rare occasions that they have. And I say they should have scored just then. That was their moment, wasn't it? Anyway, Jorginho now just touches it off to Kai Havertz on this near side. He plays the ball back to Kiwior, who's had a decent game so far, hasn't he? Jacob Kiwior playing at left back. Pretty good. He's put one decent cross in as well as he's got forward well. Defended okay as well. He's looking pretty good. It's a throw though to Arsenal over on that far side. And Arsenal building this attack. Now Kiwior again in possession, bringing it forward, plays it out to this near side. Reece Nelson, the goal scorer, 36 minutes played. Arsenal going to get a second goal before half time, which would really, really make a difference, wouldn't it? To this game, we saw there how vulnerable a 1-0 lead can be against anybody. Certainly a team of Brentford's quality. Anyway, Ben White now plays it to Smith Rowe on that far side. Emil Smith Rowe had a big chance, didn't he, a few moments ago? A good save by the goalkeeper. This is good from Arsenal again. Inside the box, Eddie Nketiah tries to run through two challenges, but it was Ethan Pinnock, came across there and got the ball clear. And Arsenal looked good in this first half, again coming forward. Both teams actually are playing pretty well. It's a decent game, considering not everybody takes it too seriously, or it doesn't appear as though they do. But it's been a decent game, hasn't it? There could be more than just one goal with some of the chances that there's been. Smith Rowe could have scored for Arsenal. Wissa could have scored for Brentford. And it's been a good watch. Brentford coming forward again, but that was a poor ball forward there by Mbeumo, I think it was. And Tomiyasu is going to be able to tidy that up without too many problems at all. But this was good from Arsenal. Again, Eddie Nketiah there, twisted and turned. Played a lovely 1-2 with Jorginho. Got into the box, but then slightly overran the ball. And unfortunately, that kind of sums up Eddie Nketiah a little bit, doesn't it? He looks as though he looks like he's almost on the brink of being a great player, but it never quite comes off for him, does it, very often? And that maybe sort of summed up a little bit there, didn't it? That little run he had there. Anyway, Arsenal back in possession with Gabriel. He plays it back to Aaron Ramsdale. Hasn't had to make a save yet, has he? On his return to the team following 3 games out, the last two Premier League games, and of course that Champions League game as well. Ramsdale was left out of the team, and is David Raya about to become the actual number 1 for Arsenal? Looks as though he may well be, and I personally think that's the right decision, but it's still early days, of course. David Raya has done okay so far. He didn't do badly against Tottenham. I don't think you could blame him for either of the 2 goals. And he made a really good save as well, didn't he? He maybe wasn't quite as commanding as he had been in the previous game, but he wasn't really put under too much pressure, was he? But anyway, we'll see how that develops this season. But I've got a feeling David Raya is going to play on Saturday against Bournemouth and probably against Lons next week in the Champions League as well. But we'll see. Aaron Ramsdale nearly got himself in trouble there, actually trying to dribble the ball out of his penalty area, and Arsenal put under a little bit of pressure there, but good defending here in his corner by Reece Nelson, I think it was. Actually, no, it was Gabriel, sorry. And now Brentford, though, have won the ball back. That was a bit sloppy, that, from Ramsdale. Got caught in possession, took too long with the ball at his feet. You can't afford to do that in the Premier League, can you? Because someone will close you down and try and take the ball off you. And that's exactly what happened there. And he had to rush that clearance, and in the end, almost put Arsenal under pressure. But we got away with it that time. And he just needs to be careful, doesn't he, Aaron Ramsdale? And I think it's those little lapses of concentration, actually, that that one of the reasons why he's that Arteta has been looking at replacing him. I think that's basically what's happened. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why that this lack of lapses in concentration that he has on occasions, and it happened a little bit too much towards the end of last season in particular, didn't it? And maybe that was the reason. But David Raya was a goalkeeper that Mikel Arteta was looking at 2 years ago, wasn't it, before we bought Ramsdale? So I don't think it's necessarily just down to Ramsdale. I think it's just the opportunity to get a goalkeeper that he really wanted came up, and he's taken it. And why not? If the player that you're interested in is available, you're gonna try and get them, aren't you, if you can? And that seems to be what's happened. Bargam says that ESR type dribbling. Cams are nice. Yeah, no, he's playing well, ESR, isn't he? But we know what he can do. We know what he can do because we've seen him do it plenty of times over the last few years. Anyways, there's a yellow card for Ben White for delaying this throw-in, and we've seen how sometimes that can lead to problems later on in the game, can't it? With a yellow card for time wasting, and Ben White's just picked one up there, took his time over that throw. We're into the last 4.5 minutes of this first half. That's been a decent first half from Arsenal. We got a great start with that early goal, and we've had a couple of opportunities to have got a second one as well. ESR's, of course, was the big one, but Brentford did miss a hell of a chance to equalise, didn't they? With Johan Wissa put a big chance wide, unmarked inside the penalty area. So there's plenty left in this game yet, and we've got a lot of work to do still if we are going to make it through to round 4, which we didn't manage to last season, did we? We led in that game as well against Brighton, didn't we? But I think Brighton equalised before half-time and then scored 2 in the second half. But anyway, so far it is still 1-0 to Arsenal. We played 41.5 minutes. That is what we've got on the clock. It is still, I say Arsenal winning 1-0 and playing well. We're playing well. And Brentford haven't played badly, actually, either. It's been a decent enough game, all things considered. Anyway, Brentford are in possession now on this near side with Roslev, and it does go back again to goalkeeper Flecken. Brentford are trying to play it out from the back and suck Arsenal in and then look to exploit the space behind, but they wasn't able to do it then. Arsenal won the ball back. Here we are now on this near side. Plays it back to Gabriel. Touches it in to Jorginho. Gets it back again. Gabriel. Not a lot of movement in front of him, so he just plays it short to Jorginho. Tries to exchange passes with Eddie Nketiah, and instead Eddie goes back again, and now it's with Gabriel, and Brentford have forced Arsenal back this time. But Gabriel goes long with a ball over the top, looking for the run of Eddie Nketiah. Can he get on the end of it? He can't, but it's fell to Kai Havertz instead. Lofts it up this near side, looking for Reece, Eddie Nketiah again, lays it off to Kirill. This is nice play from Arsenal. Havertz finds Kirill on this near side. That's with Jorginho. Jorginho plays it back into Tomiyasu. Can Arsenal get a second goal before half time? That'll really settle us down, won't it? And put us in a great position. I said there, but Jesus said, Paddy, indeed he did. Anyway, Arsenal try to come forward there, but Kai loses the ball, and Brentford can try and bring it forward again, but Arsenal penning them in pretty well here. And Brentford trying to beat the press. In fact, there's a foul there by Emil Smith-Rowe, and it is going to be a free kick to Brentford. It's the last couple of moments here in this first half. It's been a good first half from Arsenal with that early goal, and Emil Smith-Rowe's had a decent game, hasn't he? But it is just that 1-0, and we know how difficult 1-0 leads are in the Premier League against Premier League teams. This isn't a Premier League game, of course. It is the Carabao Cup. Oh, and Arsenal won the ball back here. Kai Havertz plays it forward to Reece Nelson into Eddie Nketiah inside the box. Oh, he tried to go around the player, or was he trying to feed Emil Smith-Rowe? Not really sure. But again, Eddie Nketiah makes the wrong choice inside the penalty area, and Brentford get the ball clear. And that was an opportunity there to get that second goal. We're in the last minute now of this first half. Arsenal again winning the ball back high up the pitch. But this time it goes out for a throw to Brentford on this near side. That was another opportunity, though, for Arsenal, wasn't it? We've had a few. We've got. Is this a new channel? It's not a new channel. It might be new to you if you've just found us. If you are, welcome along. We're welcome to join us. why not give us a like and consider subscribing? We do cover all the games, the men and the women, on this channel, other bits and pieces as well. So yeah, if you like what you're doing, this please give us a like and subscribe. Why not? It's good to have you with us. Bargav says this go to penalties. It would go to penalties, yeah. If it's a draw, it goes to penalties. No extra time, straight to penalties. Gabriel's just kicked the ball in the crowd actually and apologising to a fan there that he may have struck with a ball there. We're going to find out the stoppage time. It's just 2 minutes. Not surprising. There's not been a lot of stoppages, has there? And it is going to be is it a corner or is it a throw? Gabriel did kick the ball into the crowd. He's maybe a bit fortunate not to get a yellow card, actually, because, you know, you get a yellow card for wasting time and booting the ball into the crowd there unnecessarily, really. Maybe he's lucky to get it. In fact, it's a goal kick. The ball must have gone out already. But it is a goal kick to Arsenal. We've played 30 seconds out of 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. It's been a decent first half. I say for Arsenal, we've got the lead. We could have had one or two more. And Brentford have had their moments as well, haven't they, in this game? They'll certainly feel that they're not out of this tie at all, Brentford. They'll still feel that they can get something from this game. And as we said, there's no extra time. So if it finished 1-1, it would go straight to penalties. And that could be a little bit of drama we could bring you later on tonight, maybe, if that's the case. But let's hope that it doesn't go to that. I hope Arsenal can win in the 90 minutes. That's what we want to see, don't we? We've played a minute now, just over a minute of stoppage time. As we're almost at half time now. Alfred says, I'm an older gooner, home and away back in the late 70s. Yeah, myself as well. I started going early 80s, home and away, pretty much all the way through the 80s and the 90s. Great days, wasn't they? Not necessarily great days in terms of on the pitch for the team winning trophies, because we didn't have a great time, did we? But it was just great going and watching. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I mean, we do like a lot of stuff on the Arsenal history on this channel as well. We did have a great show last season, actually, called Highbury Matters, looking back on some great memories from the old days. We're going to be doing similar stuff this season as well. The 80s actually is a theme that I'm going to be covering quite a lot of. It's my favourite decade. So we're going to be doing some stuff on the 1980s this season as well. So join us for that. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. You know, it's half time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It is at Brentford 0, Arsenal 1. It was that goal very early on from Reece Nelson. It was a mistake at the back from Brentford, a poor back pass. Eddie Nketiah was onto it, pulled it back, and Reece Nelson took his time, picked his spot and rolled the ball into the bottom corner. And we've had one or two other opportunities. Emil Smith-Rowe brought a good save out of the Brentford goalkeeper Mark Flecken with a good run and shot. But Brentford had a great chance to equalise, didn't they? It was Johan Wissa with a free opportunity inside the box, a great ball to him from Christian Norgard. And he put it wide. And it is half-time. It's 1-0, which will do, won't it, for now? We'll take that, definitely. Bargo says, big up, did home and away this year for the first time. Away games are nice. Yeah, away games were always my favourite. You know, I had a season ticket back in the 80s and 90s, and the home games were, you know, they were great. But the away games were what it was all about, wasn't it? Travelling around the country, watching your team with 2,000 or 3,000 die-hard fans as well. It used to be great times. And I don't think football's the same anymore, is it? I don't think the experience is the same now. The all-seater stadium didn't help, obviously. And just the whole atmosphere of it's different now, isn't it? I suppose you could say it's safer, but is it as much fun? I don't believe it is. I certainly don't think it is. Take me back to the 80s any day. They were great days. Some great memories and great stuff that happened. So I'm gonna be doing a show called Arsenal in the 80s on this channel, actually. So we'll be looking at some of those great moments. Not so much great moments on the pitch, more great stories off the pitch, the stuff that happened and stuff we got up to and memories that we've got. So that's going to be good, actually. Offrad says there, you must remember the yellow lambs wool jumpers in the early 80s. Absolutely. Brilliant. Bargab says it costs a small fortune now. No, it does. I mean, this is a thing, isn't it, as well? You know, I can remember back in the day where you say Arsenal were away from home on a Saturday. Obviously, all the games were Saturday, 3:00 kickoff, and you might be away. So I don't know, Everton away, or Liverpool, or Man United, or something like that. And you'd wake up in the morning and you'd ring your mates and say, "Do you fancy going to the game?" But oh yeah, all right then. You didn't need a ticket weeks in advance. You just went up. We went into London, got on the train, you bought them intercity tickets, just went up there. Paid on the gate, did it so many times for away games. You didn't need to plan a weeks in advance. You literally just went up on the day. It was brilliant. And they were great times, wasn't they? I say not necessarily always on the pitch, although later on in the 80s and in the 90s we had some massive great success as well, didn't we? Which was great. But yeah, that's what I used to love. Just deciding on the day, let's go to Liverpool today. Let's go to Nottingham Forest away, or wherever it might have been, and just jumping on a train and just going and enjoying it. It was brilliant. I used to absolutely love it. Terry says 80s and 90s, best time of my life, great fun. It was, yeah. I think it was the best time of all our lives. Anyone who was old enough to appreciate the 80s and the 90s would, I don't think there's any debate, is there, that they were the best times ever. And life, unfortunately, I'm glad I'm not young now, experiencing life now as a younger person with the way the world is now. Just wouldn't be the same, would it? It was so much better back then. And yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything, really. Offer says in 380 to get the clock in. I mean, I had a season ticket at Highbury, so I don't actually know what the tickets were to get in. I can't remember, because I just got a season ticket every year from, I think, 83 was my first season ticket. I had a terrace season ticket on the clock end. I started off in the North Bank. I think most people do, don't they? And then in 82, moved over to the clock end, which and I've pretty much stayed there ever since, until we moved away from Highbury, of course. Leeds away when we beat them 5-0. A bit of a rat at the station afterwards. I didn't go to that one. I was a bit too young then, that one. I didn't start going to away. That was in 1980, 81, wasn't it? I didn't start going to away games until the season after. So I don't remember that one. Villa away the same. So that would have been the season Villa won the league, I think, wouldn't it? Potentially. It was the season after I started going, the season they won the European Cup. Bargab says, I wouldn't say the world is safer. People still can be hypersensitive. Well, is the world safer? No, the world probably isn't safer. I just think going to football safer than it was because you took your life in your hands back, certainly in the 80s, before the all-seater stadiums came in. You didn't really think about it at the time. And I think, if my parents had known exactly what was going on at football, they probably wouldn't have allowed me to go. When I was sort of 12, 13, 14, going to away games and stuff like that, I don't think they would have allowed it. It was dangerous. You was taking your life in your hand sometimes. Some of the things that happened, it was like, wow, you'd get home and you'd think, Christ, how did we survive that without too many, cuts and bruises? So that's what it was like. And it was all the more fun for it, actually. I personally thought, and now it's a lot more sanitized. Yeah, it's safer. It's more of a family day out, isn't it? I suppose. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Just if you experience football in the 80s and now you experience it now, it's totally different. But I mean, you're absolutely right, Bargav. Now people are offended by the stupidest little things, aren't they? Ridiculous words that someone types on a computer screen. Who cares? You know what I mean? That's not important, is it? Don't read it. It's up to you, isn't it? You've got that choice. When someone's in your face at football throwing things at you, you've got not really much choice, have you? Whereas you can, if someone's on the internet's offending you, you can just switch off or go do something else. So I don't really understand that myself. I don't personally understand it, why people get so offended by stuff like that. I don't really know. Anyway, went to all the replays with Liverpool FA Cup semis 1980. Finally beat them at Highfield Road. That's right. Yeah. Hitchhiked most of them. Did you really hitchhike? Wow, I bet you got some stories to say about that. I can remember then, I mean, I would have been 11 that season, and I can remember listening to the games on the radio in my bedroom, those replays with Liverpool. Very, very tense. I remember there was one, wasn't there, where we scored Alan Sunderland in our, what was it, about 2 minutes into the game, and it looked like we were going to win. And then in the last minute of the 90, Kenny Dalglish equalised, I think, for Liverpool in one of those replays. But yeah, I remember listening to them. Very, very great memories of that. The coverage on the radio used to be great, didn't it, in them days as well? I think it was Radio 2, wasn't it, then? That was like they used to put the sport on, didn't it? It was just brilliant. I remember I had a little radio in my bedroom that I used to listen to in bed when I was meant to be in bed. And I can remember there was a few games where, you know, I had to go to bed. You know, I was only at school, I was only young, and if Arsenal were playing, you know, my mum would always say, "Oh, don't worry, I'll leave a note for you with a score in the morning when you get up." I was like, "Okay," but I had my little radio, and I'd be listening to the radio anyway in bed, so I'd know what the score was, and I'd have to pretend to be shocked in the morning when I saw her. She'd wrote it down next to me breakfast bowl in the morning. It's saying that Arsenal would say 1-1, whatever it was, and I already knew, and I had to pretend to be surprised. Oh, brilliant! I didn't know we'd won and stuff like that. So that was all good fun. Those were the days, and of course, it was even better when I was a little bit older to get to the games myself. Brilliant, you know, some great games. There was a party at every service station on the M1 on the way. I bet there was. Seen a few great memories coming back from away games on the motorway services and stuff like that. You know, obviously the famous one in '89, but loads more as well. You know, they always used to be one of the highlights. Even when we'd lost games, you know, the service stations used to be quite a laugh, didn't they? On the way back. And again, now you see it's different now, isn't it? The service stations aren't the same anyway now, are they, as they used to be? They used to be good places to go after on the way back from a game, but now they're not the same, are they? Again, like everything really, I suppose. But I guess people like them now. People, you know, maybe in 20, 30 years' time, the young people now will look back on going to football now and say how great it was, because maybe it'll be even worse in 30 years' time. Won't it? Who knows? But I don't know. I don't think anything will beat the 80s and the 90s for me. Not just football, everything, life, music, everything was better, wasn't it, really, I suppose? And now it's just a matter of trying to get through things as best as you can, enjoy what you can, really. And that's all you can really hope for. But anyway, some great memories anyway, I'm sure. Although says that Arsenal were proper then indeed, yeah, much more of a club. Absolutely. I mean, I've said this loads of times on this channel on shows that we've had about one of the things that really drew me to support Arsenal, apart from this, I've got family links and stuff like to it, but was the history and tradition of the club. You know, the Highbury, the marble halls, and all that kind of stuff. And Arsenal doing things in that different classy way, and that was always the Arsenal thing, wasn't it? And no matter how bad we were on the pitch, or no matter what it was, we always had that over our fans. Didn't we? We had that class and tradition. You know, the Hillwoods and all that kind of stuff. And now that's gone, hasn't it? You know, we're just another club now. In fact, in a lot of ways now, we've gone the other way, aren't we? We're almost worse, looking at the way that we go about things these days. You know, looking at the current ticket situation, for example. You know, it's almost like the club now don't care about the fans at all. And you used to feel part of it, didn't you? It was special. And unfortunately now, it's not like that, is it? Everything's changed in football, and Arsenal have changed a lot. That tradition's gone, really, hasn't it? And yeah, moving out of Highbury, that was always going to happen, I guess, wasn't it? And they can try and do what they want to the Emirates. You know, it's a great stadium, don't get me wrong. I love the Emirates as a stadium. You know, just the seats are more comfortable, the view's great. But, you know, they can put posters up, they can put all this other stuff up. It's never going to be Highbury. And to me, it's never going to be home. It's a great stadium, and that's what it is. It's a football stadium. It isn't home. Highbury was home, and that's it. And it will never be replaced. And that's just, unfortunately, the way it is, isn't it? But anyway, let's have a look at some scores, shall we, from tonight? Because it is a Carabao Cup, and we might well be in the next round. So half time. Hang on, let me get rid of that one there. So half time it is Aston Villa 0, Everton 1. Well, Garner with that goal. Blackburn 2, Cardiff 2 at half time. What a game that looks like that's been, actually. Brilliant. Bournemouth 0, Stoke 0, Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, Fulham 1, Norwich 0, Carlos Vinicius with that guy. In fact, a few early goals tonight in some of the other games as well. Lincoln 0, West Ham 0, Liverpool 0, Leicester 1. Wow, McAteer with a goal after 3 minutes. And it is half time at Newcastle. Newcastle 0, Manchester City 0. It's not quite half time, sorry, coming up to half time. A few changes for Newcastle, actually. Livramento, Lascelles, Dummett's in, Target, Miley. They've got Halls playing. What about the Man City team? Who have they got? Ortega in goal. Lewis, Kovacic, Bob, Phillips, Gomez, Alcaraz. I mean, they've got quite a strong team, Man City, actually. I'm surprised they're maybe not winning that game. But anyway, it's not even half time, is it? Off-road says, yeah, breakfast in a Turkish cafe on the Blackstock Road for home games, then the Gunners pub for the Guineas. Yeah, we used to go in the Gunners as well. We used to go in the Bank of Friendship as well. That used to be one of us we'd go in. and obviously the Arsenal Tavern as well. Great days. Terry says, "Ever look back on some of Richard's old vlogs with Melvin as host? Fantastic content." Yeah, Melvin did a great show last year, Highbury Matters. There was guests on every week looking back on memories. That was going back from the 1960s when Melvin used to go all the way up to 2006. Really good show that was. And I said we're going to do something similar this season once things get going. I've been really busy actually lately. I haven't had to do as much as I wanted to on the channel, but I've got a series playing called Arsenal in the 80s, funnily enough, which we've been talking about, and we're going to get people on to look back on memories of the 1980s of going to games, not necessarily what happened on the pitch, but the experience of going to football in the 80s, following Arsenal away from home and all that kind of stuff, standing on a clock end in the rain and all things like that. So that's going to be really good. I'm planning that now. I've got a couple of guests already lined up to come on, just trying to get time in my life to be able to do it. You know, with all the games going on at the minute as well, it's quite tough, isn't it? With midweek games in there and everywhere. Of course, we do cover the women as well. We follow the women's team, and that's just started as well. It's going to be tough, isn't it? Offer says all the popular Arsenal fan streams are run by people who don't remember the real Arsenal. The nearest would be the older guy on AFTV. Yeah, Lee Judges. I mean, Lee Judges has been on this channel actually. He's a personal friend of mine, shall we say? I know him, and he's a good guy. But I think one of the things I've noticed is a lot of modern football fans aren't really interested in the old days, are they? Really, they just want to. They're all for the here and now, aren't they? And it's a shame, because there's so many people out there that have got so many great memories of this great football club and what it's meant and what it means. And it seems a shame that the younger generation aren't as worried or as bothered about it as maybe they could be. So yeah, it is a shame. I agree. And this was one of the reasons why I set this channel up, funnily enough. It's kind of not always gone in the way that I wanted it to go, in terms of the fact that games come along and you end up getting sucked into everything that's happening now with team selections and matches and results and all that kind of stuff. But when I first started the channel, I was really interested in putting videos out on the history of the club, really, and great moments, great players. If you look back at the very old days, the videos aren't well produced because I didn't know what I was doing. But the content was all about the history of Arsenal and stuff like that. And that was one reason why I started the channel. And I say it's lost a little bit of that in the last year or a couple of years, just because of the sheer number of games and the drama that seems to happen on the here and now. But here's something I'm going to be doing, I say, this season. The Arsenal in the 80s series will be coming soon. And hopefully, I'm sure you'll enjoy that if you've got those memories. And it'd be nice to get you involved, actually. I think I remember Lee Judges from back then. Yeah, he's been going for years. But there were one or two that looked like him. Yeah, I suppose it was really. But no, Lee Judges has been going for a long time. Roll necks, Pringles, Deerstalkers, Nike, ski jackets. Yeah, they were the days, weren't they? I've got a little video actually that I put together about a year or so ago, maybe a bit longer, of some images from the brilliant sort of casual days of the 80s football fans, not just Arsenal fans, football fans in general from the 80s. I put a few photos together. It looks pretty good. But yeah, they were great days, wasn't they? Fashion, music, football, everything. It was just brilliant, wasn't it? I'm so pleased, and it's just luck of the draw, isn't it? You can't help when you were born. I'm just so pleased that I grew up at that time and I experienced all of that, going to football in the 80s and in the 90s. And unfortunately, now younger fans are never going to have experienced that, are they? It's a shame. It really is a shame. So if people like us can give them some thing of what it was like, get them to feel what it was like, and get some memories of what it was like, then I think that should be what we should be doing, really. As older fans, we should be doing that, and that's what I've tried to do. And yeah, I'll say I've lost track of it a little bit on the channel, just because you get bogged down with everything else that's happening. But it is something that we'll be reviving later as throughout this season as well. I say Arsenal in the 80s is going to be good. Anyway, we're just about to get going in the second half of the here and now. It is Brentford the kick-off, attacking a goal to our left. Thank you very much. Good to have you on board with us. Hopefully you'll enjoy what we do. And whatever we do, even though we're covering the here and now, you know, we always like the old days as well. And we always talk about it. And I say we're going to be doing a lot more stuff on it. But check out the shows that we did with Melvin, Highbury Matters. They were really, really good. Anyway, it's an early free kick here to Brentford, which they've taken quickly, but Arsenal actually won the ball straight back. Can Arsenal have a good run in this Carabao Cup this season? We got to the semi-final, didn't we, 2 years ago? We lost to Liverpool, if you remember. That was a decent little run, wasn't it? And we had that brilliant 0-0 draw at Anfield, didn't we? With 10 men when Granit Xhaka got sent off. And what a performance we put in that night. But unfortunately, at the Emirates, they came and beat us, didn't they? 2-0. And that was that, really. That would have been nice to have got to that final. But I think this year, as I said earlier on the show tonight, I think there's a little bit of pressure on Mikel Arteta to win that trophy this season. And this is probably one of our biggest chances of winning one, isn't it? I think the Premier League and the Champions League are out of our reach this season, unfortunately. I just don't think we're quite at that level to win either of those two. And obviously the FA Cup and this competition gives us an opportunity. It's a day out of Wembley, which we all love. And obviously a chance to get another trophy. And Arsenal are about trophies, aren't we? You know, we're talking about the history and tradition of the club. And yes, but one of those traditions is winning trophies, isn't it? You know, this is the longest we've gone now without winning a league title since 1930. So, you know, we've long overdue one. And, you know, we've won some FA Cups in recent years, which is great. But yeah, it'd be nice to be winning that Premier League again. But I still think we're a little bit off that yet, partly due to how good Man City are, and partly due to the fact that I don't think we're quite at that level yet with the players that we've got, with the experience that we've got. We're getting there, and I say maybe in a few years we'll have to see. We lose most finals. Went to Wembley in '93 against Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, I was at all them finals, the semi-finals against Tottenham as well. We was in the Tottenham end actually for the first one when they beat us in '91, which was not a lot of fun. But yeah, '93 was good. First time I see us win the FA Cup live, actually, because I was too young in '79. So '93 was the first time I'd seen us win the FA Cup. And what a way to win it in the last minute of it. That's the latest ever goal to win an FA Cup, 121st minute of the replay. So the 240th minute or 242nd minute, whatever it was, to win the FA Cup. And that was a great night in the rain, wasn't it, at Wembley? Not a great game, particularly, and the weather was awful, but to win the FA Cup in that way. You know, we've had some great moments. I mean, winning the league in the last minute at Anfield, winning the FA Cup in the last minute, well, twice, 79 and 93. We've had some great moments and great memories as Arsenal fans. We've been lucky, let's be honest. We've been fortunate that Arsenal's our club. I never thought, when I first started going to watch Arsenal in the early 80s, we wasn't great, as you know. And you see Liverpool win all these trophies every year, and even Tottenham won a couple of FA Cups. And I remember thinking, how great would it be to see your team win a trophy? I never ever thought I'd see Arsenal win one. And now, all these years later, having seen us win all, you know what, I think, is it 5 league titles I've seen us win, probably 10 FA Cups, maybe more, a couple of League Cups, a Cup Winners' Cup, you know, all these great trophies that we've won. I never ever thought I'd ever see us win anything. And there's no better feeling, is there, than seeing your captain go up and lift a trophy, especially at Wembley. I do love a cup final. You know, in a way, winning a league's great, isn't it? But actual cup final, the whole day and everything else is just is something a bit special, isn't it? And hopefully we'll get one at the end of the season. But anyway, Brentford coming forward now on this counter-attack, looking to try and get the equaliser, which wouldn't help us get to Wembley in this competition, would it? They're still coming forward now on the far side. Low cross comes in as well, blocked actually by Kiwior, who's done well, Kiwior, tonight, I think. Terry says, yeah, Offer, great to have you on board, mate. You'll love it. Yeah, good to have you on board. Indeed, it is. We love new people coming on the channel, especially these old school Gooners. We do love a good old school Gooner here, and it's great to have you with us. And hopefully you'll enjoy what we're doing. Anyway, Brentford coming forward now. We're not enjoying this too much at the moment. They've started this half pretty well, actually. On the front foot, Brentford obviously feel they can still get back into this game. And they're coming forward now. It's on the edge of the Arsenal penalty. Shot comes in. Oh, it's got a deflection. There's a chance there. Ramsdale comes out. I think there was an offside. Surely there was an offside there against Wissa. He was offside. The shot was deflected. It fell to Wissa. He was offside, and Ramsdale did well anyway. But it is going to be a free kick to Arsenal. It was Norgard again. He's had a decent game, Norgard. He's a good player, isn't he? In fact, he was offside already, Wissa. And then when the ball came to him, he was miles offside. Alfred says there was a small schoolboy when we did the double 71, McClintock, Charlie George, White Hart Lane. When we went, yeah, indeed. I mean, I was two then, so I don't remember that at all. Obviously, I've seen the videos, heard the stories about it. Fantastic. Read the books and whatever. I can remember when I was growing up in a sort of late 70s, I was given a book about football from one of my cousins, and it was about the 71 double. I remember reading it thinking how great that must have been. Never thought I'd experience an Arsenal team winning a double. So to see it happen, 2 or 3 times now, it's been incredible, really. Anyway, Ben White is now in possession for Arsenal. We just try to take the sting out of these Brentford attacks in this second half, where they've come flying at us a little bit. We're coming forward now. We can get the second goal. You get the feeling that that might be it really for this game. That might put us through to the next round. We'll see what the draw brings us. Hopefully, decent game, but we'll see. Anyway, Ben White now on this near side for Arsenal. We're not in any hurry to get the ball forward at this moment, really. Just looking to keep a bit of possession, trying to take the sting out of this Brentford fast start to the second half. We've played what, 5-6 minutes? No, sorry, we haven't. Yeah, we played 5-6 minutes, haven't we, in the second half? Anyway, Arsenal coming forward now. Over on that far side, Eddie Nketiah tries a shot, but it's harmlessly over the top of the crossbar. Bit ambitious that was there from Eddie, cut in from that left-hand side and shot from about, 20 yards, flew high over the crossbar into the crowd behind the goal. And it remains 1-0 to Arsenal, which, of course, is a famous score, isn't it, that we enjoy? The little song that we've got on the channel as well. Terry says, our generation has been spoiled. That's why I get the ump sometimes with the rubbish team show. I know, I mean, I don't know. It seems to be, I don't know, see, the younger generation haven't really witnessed great Arsenal teams, have they? You know, I mean, my youngest son, he's 20. And obviously, he's never seen Arsenal win the league because he was born in 2003. Well, I mean, he was coming up for one in the Invincible season. He doesn't remember it. He's seen us win FA Cups and stuff like that. But you know, people of his age have never really seen a really dominant, great Arsenal team. You know, some of those great Arsenal teams that we saw. So maybe they look at what we're doing now and think, "Oh, this is great," because they haven't experienced how great we have been in the past. Maybe I don't know if that's the reason. That's how I kind of see it a little bit. I look at some of the football that we play now, the team that we've got now, and I think, yeah, it's okay, but it's nowhere near as good as it has been. The team's nowhere near as good. The players aren't as good, I don't think, and that's maybe because we've got those memories. The younger generation haven't, so maybe they're excited by this because it's the best they've seen. It is the best they've seen. Let's be honest. This is the best team we've had in a while, isn't it? It is. It's not quite good enough for what we want. We expect better from Arsenal because we know, I say, the standards and traditions, everything else that we've seen from this club. And what we're seeing now isn't maybe up there with that, but for the younger generation, it's the best that they've seen. So, of course, they're excited. I can't understand why some of the older fans are as excited as some of them seem to be. But anyway, that's a story for another time, isn't it? Alfred says, yeah, sick of this stream filled with deluded modern Arsenal fans, Arteta fans, regardless of the dross Arsenal by. Good. I'm glad that you feel like that as well, because we've been saying that on here for a long time. And yeah, I mean, I said it right at the start of the show. I don't know if he was with us then or not, but I was saying that I don't believe that this manager is going to be the manager to take us to winning the big trophies that we should be looking at winning. I don't believe he can do that with us, judging him over the last 4 years. I hope I'm wrong, of course, but I'm not convinced. Anyway, there's a yellow card there to Eddie Nketiah, and I think that's just more for accumulation of fouls because he's made a few fouls in this game, and he got tackled there and he followed through and he caught I think it was Jorgensen, and he's got himself a yellow card. So that's not good, is it? Russ is in the chat. Russ, good to see you again, my friend. Hope you are well. Terry says hello to Russ. Yeah, good to see you, Russ. I hope you're enjoying the game. We're doing all right, aren't we? It's quite enjoyable. We're winning 1-0 and we're on I said not quite on the brink of getting through yet, but we're in a good position. We just you do feel we need this second goal, don't you? Because Brentford have looked quite lively going forward, but we are coming forward ourselves now, looking to try and get that second goal, which would, I think, a second goal now is enough to win this game. I can't see Brentford scoring 2, if I'm honest. Not 1. It stays up. If we're at 2-0 up, I can't see them scoring 2. I can certainly see them scoring 1 as things stand, but we'll see. Anyway, Kirill has just conceded a foul there. It looked like it was a strong, firm challenge he made. Let's put it that way. But it looked like a shoulder to shoulder, and I don't know. Was that a foul? I don't think it was. Anyway, I don't know if he got a yellow card. Did he, Kirill? He didn't deserve one. It was a firm challenge, of course. He put a lot into that, but I think it was a shoulder to shoulder. I don't think it was too much to worry about there. Alfredo says, yes, we are good, but not good enough. Exactly. Can't challenge Man City yet. Not good enough to win the league or Champions League. Absolutely. too weak mentally. That is the big issue, isn't it? That's the big one for me, the mental side of it, not necessarily anything else. That's the biggest thing that's holding us back. And no idea how to rescue games. Yeah, and that's down to the manager not having a plan B, really, isn't it? Not being able to change things, not having other options. Different. Every player that we buy is a similar player, aren't they? They're all the same. So we don't have any different options. Do we? Even the team tonight is very similar to the team that plays normally. Not quite as good, but very similar type of players, aren't they? And we don't have a different option. A free kick comes in from Brentford. They are dangerous from set pieces, but it was a good defensive header. I think it might have been Eddie Nketiah, actually. It was a decent defensive header anyway. We got it clear. But Brentford are still in. Another ball into the box, a dangerous ball. Again, a good header away. I think that was Tommy Asu that time. But Arsenal were defending these balls in the box pretty well, actually, which is good. Bargab says Nketiah put in a good audition for Thomas Frank. Well, let's hope so. You know, they're going to need a new striker when Ivan Toney leaves in January. Not that he's coming to Arsenal, but when he does leave Brentford, because I think that's inevitable. They will need a replacement striker, and I think Eddie Nketiah would be the perfect type of player. I've been saying for a while, Crystal Palace will be his sort of team, that kind of level, and I think Brentford, yeah, that's a similar sort of level to Palace, isn't it? So I think he would do well at Brentford, and I think he'd score a fair amount of goals. I do. If he played every week for a team like Brentford, he would score a lot of goals. Brentford trying to get an equaliser there, good defending there, but not good defending now. Gabriel went to sleep, and a cross comes in. Brentford looking for the equaliser. Shot comes out of the far post. A volley from Onyeka, but it's gone wide. And Arsenal defended it. Oh, Gabriel defended it well initially, and then took too long on the ball. Got robbed inside his own penalty area by Wissa, and then the cross came in, and the volley there from Onyeka went wide. And that is the end of that, really. Terry says, I'm liking off-road more and more. Yeah, we're all liking it. He's on our wavelength, Terry. That's why. It's good to have people on the channel that are on a similar wavelength to us. Bargab says, yeah, he works hard, as good occasional world-class performance worth the 50. Well, I don't think he does. I don't think he has world-class performances. He sometimes scores some nice little goals inside the penalty area because he's a finisher. That's what he spent his life doing. You know, when you're a striker, that's what you do every day, don't you? You work on your finishing, and he's a decent little finisher, but he's not good enough, is he, to take Arsenal to that next level. As a centre forward, we need someone better. There's no doubt about that. And why we spent all that money on his new contract, I do not know. When we could have got a much better centre forward in for that sort of contract, rather than. But that kind of sums up Mikel Arteta for me, unfortunately. He favours the wrong players quite often, doesn't he? As we've seen. Alpha says here, for the first time since George Graham's back four that founded Wenger's 98 double, our back four looks okay. Saliba is a superstar in the making. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Saliba is brilliant, isn't he? See, in some ways, I kind of agree with that. And in other ways, I don't, because last season and even this season so far, we're conceding too many goals. If you're going to win the league and you're going to be successful, as George Graham showed us all, you do it from the back, don't you? You build your team from the back. You've got a solid foundation, and then you can build from there. I don't think we've got that solid foundation. We concede too many goals. Last season, we conceded over 40 goals, didn't we, in the Premier League? You can't do that and expect to win the league. This season already, we've conceded too many, especially at home. Last season at home as well, you know. We can't keep conceding that many goals. And I think the players individually are good, but as a unit, maybe, and is that to do with the style that we play a little bit? Maybe is that Arteta's not able to really organise a defensive unit in the way that other managers have done. George Graham, of course, as we know, was the expert at doing that. And if we had a defensive coach like that with this group of players, we may well be a lot more solid and concede a lot less goals. Bargab says that Nketiah defined world class v Chelsea occasionally. Yeah, joking. Yeah, I'm sure you are joking. He's got a couple of good goals against Chelsea, though, didn't he? Although says that White is okay. Zinni needs to work on defending. Absolutely needs Winterburn to train him. See, that's the thing, right? Everybody raves about Zinchenko, right? And with the ball, yes, he's a talented player. There's no doubt. But as a left back, he's all over the place. He's caught out of position all the time because he's playing in midfield, that's not his fault. That's where the role is. It's his natural position anyway. If he played in midfield, he'd be a really good player. But at left back, no, he's not. And why Kieran Tierney was offloaded for him, I do not know. And Kieran Tierney is a much better defensive left back. And you want your left back to be able to defend, don't you? First and foremost, yes, if they're good on the ball and do some great other things, brilliant. But that should be secondary. They need to defend. And unfortunately, Zinchenko is a terrible defender. You know, Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool has got a similar problem. Very good going forward, great delivery of a ball, but absolutely terrible at defending. And it becomes a liability. And Zinchenko becomes a liability, doesn't he, in that position, I think, personally. But anyway, Bargo says there, the goals we gave up have to world class. Well, I don't know. Alpha says we have defenders in terms of quality. We just need to work as a defender. Exactly. Yeah, that's the point. We have some good individual defenders. I agree. And Williams-Lieber is exceptional. Gabriel has his moments. He has his mad moments as well. He's just done some good defending there, actually. But yeah, we need to be better as a unit. But that's not the way Arteta wants to play, is it? He likes the fullbacks coming into midfield. It does leave gaps. And that's just the way he wants to play, doesn't it? Bargab says there, defensively, the quality of the goals that go in have to be much higher. Do they? I don't know. We make some really terrible mistakes as well, don't we? We concede some poor goals, really, really. I look at the 2 against Tottenham as an example. You know, terrible goals to concede. And we do that too often, especially at home. We've got a tendency at the Emirates to concede daft goals, don't we? Week after week. Terry says we seem to fall asleep a lot as a team, and it always says, yeah, we do. And where does that come from? You know, yes, you could blame the players individually, and obviously the players are making mistakes, but that comes from the mindset and from the manager. To me, I don't think we've got that ruthless streak about us in any area of the team. We're very nice footballers, and the players that we buy are very nice players, and they're very nice guys as well. But you need a little bit of ruthlessness, don't you? You know, you remember the stories in the day when, you know, when Martin Keown was there and the players used to be fighting each other on a training ground. That's what you want to see. This team don't fight each other on a training ground, do they? They'll all be, you know, cuddling each other. And that's what Arteta wants, doesn't he? He wants this whole hippie convention at Arsenal. And that's all great and well and good, but it's not going to win you big trophies. And you can see as soon as the pressure's on, this team crumbles because they don't have that mentality. And that's what we're lacking, and that comes from the manager. And I think if we got a manager with that more winning mentality, he would get that into the players. He would get players with that mentality coming in, and then we'd see a difference. Anyway, the first substitution of the night. In fact, there's 2 substitutions for Brentford. In fact, there's 3 substitutions for Brentford. So we're getting 3. So Norgard's going off. Is that Godas coming on? It is. Is the Iranian Godas. Jensen as well is coming on. And Roosevelt's gone off as well, and Jensen and it's only 2. Jensen and Godas are coming on, and it is a throw to Brentford, and they do like these long throws, and it is the guy who's just come on, Jensen, wearing a captain's armband now, replacing Norgard, is going to take this throw. It is a long throw towards the near post, headed out again by Eddie Nketiah. Comes to the edge of the box, the shot comes in, good defending again. I think that was Tomiyasu in the way of that shot. Brentford are certainly dangerous now, aren't they? As we move into the last quarter of this game. And Arsenal should get this clear over on that far side. Another dangerous ball in. Offo says, I watched Ivan Toney at Posh for 2 seasons. His quality with supply from Odegaard and our wingers, he would bang them in fast. He would, but he's not an Arteta player. He's not an Arteta player, is he? He's got the wrong mentality for Arteta. You know, the fact he's banned at the minute for a start off, that's not the sort of player Arteta wants, is it? Yeah, you know, I don't know. To me, he doesn't fit in with the style of player, not necessarily on the pitch, but off the pitch, that Arteta wants and Arteta gets. So I don't think we'll buy Ivan Toney, but I agree. I think he'd be brilliant. I've been wanting Ivan Toney for 2 years. Brentford now have an opportunity to equalise inside the penalty. A shot comes in, blocked again. Good defending. I think that might have been Ben White that time. Again, it was Wissa. He's caused us some problems tonight, hasn't he, Wissa? His finishing hasn't been great, but he's certainly lively, isn't he? Him and Mbeumo are good players, actually, for Brentford. You can understand why Ivan Toney scored so many goals. But I agree, Ivan Toney would score bundles at Arsenal, but he's not the player. We'll end up getting Ollie Watkins because he's a safe bet, isn't he? He's not going to get banned, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's not going to get in trouble. So he's more likely to, he's the sort of player we're more likely to buy. Another long throw from Brentford. And again, Arsenal struggling to clear it. Comes to the edge of the penalty area. The ball played across. Then Wissa again. Oh, he's at the post. Did Ramsdale touch that? He may well have got a touch onto the post. It was Wissa again who's come close on several occasions. I think Ramsdale got a fingertip to that, pushed it onto the post. If he did, that's a very, very good save. We might see a replay of that in a minute. Absolutely. That's the biggest moment for Brentford. And it's Wissa again with that shot. We never really dealt with that long throw. Brentford coming forward again. This is a great spell from the hosts here as they look to try to get level in this cup tie. And you have to say, the way things are going at the minute, you can see a goal coming from them. But Arsenal defending quite well at the minute, putting bodies on the line. And that looked like it was a good save from Ramsey. I want to see it again, whether he did actually get a touch to it. Because if he did, it was an outstanding save. Anyway, Brentford coming forward again, a little bit of space on this near side of the ball, drilled back towards the penalty. It's deflected inside the box off Gabriel. And again, it's Wissa. He is on the end of everything for Brentford in this game. He could have scored 4 or 5 goals tonight, Wissa, and he hasn't got any. And some of that's down to his poor finishing, but a lot of that's been down to some good defending from Arsenal as well, and a good save just a moment ago from Aaron Ramsdale. But Brentford's still in possession. We can't get the ball out at the minute. They're really yanking up this pressure. Another cross into the box. That was an easier header from Gabriel. And Eddie Nketiah trying to get a counter-attack going, but he can't do so. Terry says, totally agree, no nasty streakers. No, we haven't. And, you know, you don't win much of that. Look at the Invincible team. They had a nasty streak all the way through that team, didn't they? The Man United team that was so successful. Even the Man City team now, you know, Rodri and players like that, you know, they've got that nastiness about them. And we don't have it. Offo says that you could argue the same for Haaland and Man City winning the league without a number 9. They were, although they had a number 9 before in Aguero. And then for a couple of years they did okay because they were getting goals from Mahrez and from Sterling on the wings, wasn't they? And obviously De Bruyne in midfield and whatever. But Pep knew that he wanted to win the Champions League, didn't he? And he knew to do that you need to get a big goal scorer, and that's what he did. He went out and got one. And maybe Arteta will follow suit because he seems to copy Pep and everything else. So maybe he'll get one. But I'm not sure if Ivan Toney is going to be the one that he will buy, but we'll see. Terry says, I would defo get rid of Arteta, Havertz and Eddie for Tony. Well, yeah, I would as well, yeah. Oh, I missed a replay of that, actually. Are they going to show it again now? Are they was it a good save there? I want to look at that again because it looked like a really good save from Aaron Ramsdale. Alfredo says, if Arteta is copying Pep in some ways, Pep now has a number 9. Arteta should swallow his narcissism and go for Tony. Generally, yeah, he should. I just don't think Ivan Toney's the player that he would buy character-wise, and that's become very important to Arteta, isn't it? In fact, sometimes it's more important. And he also made a substitution. Zinchenko's coming on, and the young lad actually, he's done well, hasn't he? Charles Sago Jr. Jesus is coming on. He didn't set the world on fire, but he had a decent enough debut, didn't he? So Jesus is on, and Zinchenko's on as well. And it is Ben White that's gone off, and it is Charles Sago Jr. There we go. Terry says, Ramsdale did get a touch on it. Well done, the Rams. Yeah, no, it looked like a good save, didn't it? And he certainly celebrated it like it was a good save. So Arsenal now bringing on a little bit of experience now with Zinchenko and Jesus to maybe try to get this game over the line because Brentford have had a good spell. We've still got 22 minutes to play, so there's still plenty of time. And of course, a Brentford equaliser would take this straight to penalties, which is exciting, isn't it? But maybe not what we really want, is it? Anyway, it's a throw now to Arsenal. Tomiyasu on this near side is going to take it. Arteta is talking to iPod Albert there. I don't know if they've got any more substitutions planned or what they're thinking. But no doubt, if it's still 1-0 with 5 minutes to go, there's going to be a defender come on. Probably Cedric Suarez. He's about the only defender that we've got now on the bench who's, you know, obviously Raul Walters as well. But anyway, Arsenal now trying to play it out from the back. Tomiyasu there switches it over to that far side. Zinchenko plays it forward to Reece Nelson. It's his goal all those hours ago, it seems like. And Arsenal coming forward now. Kai Havertz plays the ball back. It's a decent ball. It's going to be 2-0. The shot's wide from Reece Nelson. That was a moment there for him to get his second goal. Good play from Havertz there. Played the ball back across the edge of the penalty area to where Reece Nelson was coming in. And he had all the time in the world, but he's put it wide of that far post. A more difficult effort an easier effort in some ways to the goal he scored. In fact, he was unlucky because it bent away. It was going in and it just curled away at the last minute. That was the big moment, though. You do feel a second goal now would that would seal it, wouldn't it, for Arsenal? There's no doubt about that. That would put us through to the next round. But we're going to have to wait a bit longer if we're going to get that second goal, because that shot there went wide. We thought that was going to be the moment then, didn't we? We thought that was it. But it wasn't to be. And it is still only 1-0. And we saw how fragile that lead is when Brentford hit the post a few moments ago. That good save from Ramsdale. And Arsenal lost the ball again. And Brentford bring it forward. And Arsenal just looking to try and take the sting out of that spell of probably 5-6 minutes or so of real strong, heavy Brentford pressure. They had a few throws into the box. We've given the ball away on the edge of the area. Shot comes in over the top of the crossbar. We got away with that one there. And what a surprise. It was Zinchenko that gave the ball away. He makes a habit of that, doesn't he? And he did it again there. Terrible pass from Zinchenko. And, you know, you could make the excuse to say that he's just come on and he's a bit rusty. And to a certain degree, I would say that's the case. But he does it every single week. So it's not like it's unusual, is it, for him? He tends to give the ball away in dangerous areas quite a lot. And he did there. And we almost paid, but the shot was over the crossbar. And now Arsenal looking dangerous themselves at the other end. But Brentford have been the better team in the second half. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. And they've had most of the chances really in the second half. But we've so far held on. And we've won the ball high on the pitch now. Reece Nelson, is this going to be the opportunity for the second goal? The ball's bouncing around in the air, but Brentford do manage to get it away. And then they've got a counter-attacking opportunity on, but that's a poor ball actually there. I think it was from Wissa, who's been a live wire, hasn't he? Offo says, does ESR look overweight? I was thinking that before. He looks like he's put on some weight, doesn't he? Is he overweight? I don't know whether you'd say he's overweight. He looks as though he's put on weight from the last couple of seasons. I think he's had a decent game, Smith Rowe, actually. I think he's played well. But he's not going to be in a starting lineup on Saturday, is he? Very few of these starting players will be, will they? Let's be honest. Ben White and Gabriel, probably the only two I would expect to start. Kai Havertz, potentially, but I think he's getting 90 minutes tonight because he's not going to start on Saturday. That's what I believe. But we'll see. Terry says inverted left-back working out. Well, funny enough, he wasn't in the inverted position, was he? He was actually in the left-back position and just gave the ball away with a really sloppy pass, which he's done so many times. It just annoys me. And, he is a good player. He just makes too many silly mistakes and puts us under pressure. And that's why I think he's very, very overrated. But anyway, hopefully he won't do that again. Brentford are in possession now with Aaron Hickey, the Scots defender on this near side. And Brentford have certainly give this a go in the second half, and they're still coming forward again, looking for the equaliser. And I wouldn't say Arsenal are hanging on, but we've certainly been under a lot of pressure in the second half. But we have defended pretty well. I think we've defended well, and that's all you can do. There's going to be games where you're not always at your best, and you've got to defend well. And if you keep a clean sheet, if you get a goal, you've won the game, haven't you? We have got a goal, and so far we've got a clean sheet as well. But there is still 17 minutes to play, 16, 17 minutes to play. So plenty of time still for Brentford to find the equaliser, which would take it straight to penalties. And that would bring us a lot more excitement. I think it's been a decent game, actually. I've enjoyed it as a game of football. It's been quite open. Both teams have been trying to win the game and looking to attack, and I like that. I don't like all this low block and everyone shutting everybody out. I think we've defended well with actually. Now there's a chance for Eddie. Oh, good effort there, good save. Eddie looked second favourite to get that ball, but he got his shot away. The angle was against him on that left-hand side inside the penalty area. But he did well to get his shot away, actually. This is what Eddie is good at. That movement there was really good. He showed a lot of pace there, got in front of the defender, straight at the keeper, really, I suppose. It was a decent enough save, but he's got his qualities, Eddie. They're just not good enough for what we need for the level that we're now playing at. A couple of years ago when we were, struggling to get in the top 6, 7 or 8, he would have been ideal. But he was a bit younger then, a bit more experienced. Now he'd be perfect for that type of situation with Arsenal. But we've moved on, and he's the same. He's the same player he was 2 years ago. He's not any better. A little bit stronger, maybe. Anyway, it's a big opportunity there. Oh, the ball wasn't quite right there, looking for Jesus. It was, but it was over-hit, and the goalkeeper, Flecken, came out, and now Brentford have got another counter-attacking opportunity over on that far side. with Mbuemo. Gabriel's got sucked in. The cross comes in now to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's overhit a little bit, but Brentford should keep this in. And they do keep it in. And Reece Nelson's done some really good defensive work tonight, actually, as well. I have to say, he's worked really, really hard down that left-hand side. He's been, he may well be in the shout of our best player, actually, just for the work he's put in. He got the goal. He did miss a big chance as well, but the defensive work he's done has been outstanding, actually, tonight, Reece Nelson. And well done to him. 15 minutes to play, and he's still running everywhere for this team, working so hard. Colonel says Zinni, not even a defender. If he was, I truly believe Ukraine national team would play him there. He's a centre midfield player, plays more supportive. He's at left back, inverted to overload middle of the park. Yeah, exactly. That's what he does do. Yeah, I think Ukraine's best left back is a guy at Everton, Mikalenko. He's a much better defensive left back than Zinchenko all day long. Much better as a defensive left back. And I agree, Zinchenko is more of a midfield player, isn't he? And why he's even playing as a left back, I do not know. Colonel says, how do you rate the performance so far, Rich? Anyway, hi, Terry. I think we played okay. First half, I thought we played really well. We had a few chances. Oh, shot there, another good save from Brent. That was on Onyeka, a good save from Ramsdale. I think we played okay. Second half, we were under a lot more pressure. Brentford have upped the ante, haven't they? I think we've defended pretty well for the most part. And Ramsdale, a second good save he's made. That was from Onyeka. A good effort from about 20 yards, actually. Good strike that. Hit that well, didn't he? But sort of same as a goalkeeper you'd want to make, isn't it? It was fair enough close to him. He made a meal of it, as he tends to do. But they've got another long throw opportunity. But I think we've played okay, considering it's a lot of changes. Oh, that long throw almost caused a few problems. The edge of the box shot comes in. Good defending again. Arsenal putting bodies on the line. You can see that this competition maybe does mean something to these players, but it's an opportunity for them to be playing, I suppose. They're going to try and make the most of it, aren't they? Rajendra says it's a poor Arsenal performance. Well, the second half it's been, we just haven't really got going. But Brentford have forced us back. They've played well. I thought the first half we looked quite good going forward. Anyway, Brentford have got a score. Brentford have scored, have they? No, they haven't. It's gone out. The ball had gone out already. It went behind. It was headed in from close range. In fact, was it even offside? The linesman's flagging. Not sure if it was offside or the ball went out of play. But either way, Brentford had the ball in the net, but it's not going to count. Let's have a look whether it was offside. It was a good ball, actually. Yeah, it was offside. It was offside. And actually, the player that pulled it back wasn't offside. It didn't go out either. I'd be a little bit fortunate there we are. It was Jorgensen, I think it was, who headed it, who was potentially offside. Anyway, Lewis Potter has come on. And they're making another substitution as well, Brentford. It is Onyeka's gone off for Lewis Potter and Hickey's gone off for Ola Kijibi, who's just come on. So a couple more changes for them. Second half, we've struggled to get going forward, but we've defended well, haven't we? And sometimes in a cup game away from home, that's what you need to do, don't you? I think you need to defend well. We got the goal early on, and yeah, we haven't been great in attack in the second half in particular, I'll agree, but I think overall it's been a good performance. Colonel says been okay, thanks. Always hop around Arsenal channels. I try to stay away from scoring until full time unless I can watch it on Sky or BT. Yeah, I mean, it's good to pop around a few of the channels, isn't it? Because there's lots of good channels out there. And that's great, really. And I'm glad that you pop in and see us as well. We like to see you. Always good to see you. See, he wasn't offside. The player that was involved in the play wasn't actually offside. I suppose he was active in that. Yeah, he did challenge for the ball, didn't he? I suppose. Although says there haven't done anything at all. He's done all right. He's done all right. Again, the long throw caused a few problems. The shot comes in. It's over the bar again. That was Mbuemo. That may have been deflected, actually. I'm not sure if it was. But again, it's a second ball, isn't it? The long throw comes in. We're dealing with the first one, and the second one's falling to a Brentford player on the edge of the box. And that's what's causing us problems. They've had a few shots like that, haven't they? Although says they're great on any coming on. Bring on the canteen stuff. Why don't you? Yeah, I mean, I did say, didn't I, with 10 minutes to go, if it was 1-0, we'd bring on a defensive player. There wasn't many options, really. I thought maybe Cedric Suarez. The fact that Cedric Suarez and El Neni are still here, with the big clear-outs that we've had, Anyway, Brentford coming forward again. Are they going to get level inside the box? That was Mbuemo. He did a little bit too much there. But again, it's good defending from Arsenal. And now we can try and launch a counter-attack. Reece Nelson coming forward again. He's had a great game, Reece Nelson. Cutting in field, keeping possession. Smith Rowe then lays it off to Zinchenko. Gets it back again, Smith Rowe. Yeah, it's over on that far side with Jesus. Reece Nelson's on the right now. And Jesus is on the left. And Arsenal have got a throw over on the left as well, which Eddie Nketiah is battling away for. And he's won himself a free kick in a good position as well. And Arsenal got a chance now with 10 minutes to play to get the ball into the Brentford area and get the second goal, which would seal the deal. But Arsenal also going to make a substitution. Emil Smith Rowe is coming off. Good to see him back. He's maybe seen to run out of legs a little bit, didn't he, in the second half. Reece Nelson's going over. Well, he's been brilliant tonight, Reece Nelson. What a performance from him. It's his goal that looks like it's going to put us through. Brilliant from Reece Nelson. And Smith Rowe played well as well, didn't he? And it is going to be, as we said, El Neni coming on. And also, as well, Martin Odegaard. But Reece Nelson, what a performance. Well played, my friend. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from Nelson. And is it his goal that's going to send us through? It's looking that way at the moment, isn't it? Daniel says, we need more likes for us to score. Yeah, we do. I don't know how many we're on, actually. How many are we on? But whatever we're on, we need another 10 to get us to score the second goal in these last 9 minutes. If you haven't liked this yet, give us a like, and then we've got another goal. Reece Nelson doesn't look particularly impressed to be taken off, but he's played well, so he needs to be proud of his performance tonight, actually. Worked really, really hard. And we've got this free kick now. Brentford have made another sub as well. Ayer has come on, the big defender from Norway, Christopher Ayer. Anyway, it's a free kick there to Arsenal. I've obviously brought him on for his height, not just to defend this free kick, which Martin Odegaard is going to take with his first touch. El Neni's in the box as well. He's just come on as well, hasn't he, El Neni? But that free kick was poor, straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. I always wonder why a player that's just come on takes a set piece with their first touch. Let them have a few touches first and get a feel of the ball. Anyway, Brentford coming forward again. This is good play again on this near side from Brentford. Looking for this equaliser now as we move into the last 7.5 minutes. A goal for Brentford now, you do feel, would take it to penalties. Oh, and the second Arsenal goal, of course, would seal our place in round 4, which is a nice place to be. But we shall see. I don't know. Is it a draw tonight? Is it the draw for the next round? I'm not really sure. Anyway, we shall see how that works out. But yeah, Colonel says they're so glad El Neni is getting minutes. Says he's always professional, a little like Cedric, understand their role and give 100%. Yeah, but it's costing us money to have players like that aren't going to contribute to the team. You know what I mean? It's a waste of time. Get rid. Both of them, because they're not going to play, are they? Anyway, cross comes in. There's a free chance out of the far post for Brentford. Oh, good defending again. Was that Tomiyasu? In fact, he may have been offside. I'm not sure if that was. It was Lewis Potter, actually. In fact, it was Kyrgios with a block. Brilliant defending from him. He's had a good game as well, actually. It was Lewis Potter. Anyway, Newcastle beating Man City 1-0, by the way. Isaac with the goal for Newcastle. Oh, it hit Kyrgios on the backside, actually. Don't know if you knew too much about it. It was great defending anyway. He's kept it out. It was on target. It was going in. It's off the line. Offroad says there was only a few of us watching. We need to set up a bar. Yeah, no, we could set up a bar, couldn't we? That would be good, wouldn't it? Anyway, Brentford coming forward again. Another shot goes wide, and again it's Wissa. He has had so many chances in this game, hasn't he, Johan Wissa? And he so far failed to score, which he's looking rather frustrated with himself. And I'm not surprised, really. There's 6 minutes to play. Terry says El Neni has done more than Havertz already. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's done more than Havertz, but he's only touched the ball. In fact, I don't even know if he's touched the ball yet. He's run around a little bit anyway. I mean, I like El Neni. He's just a waste of time, isn't he? Because he's never going to play. And any player that's happy not playing, to me, lacks the ambition that you need to be a squad player at a club like Arsenal. I want every player on the bench to expect to play every single week. And if they don't, then to me, they're not good enough and they've got the wrong attitude and they shouldn't be here. Anyway, El Neni gets a touch there. Odegaard now. We might start moving the ball a little bit quicker in that final third. Now Odegaard is on. But we'll see. We're into the last 5 minutes of this Carabao Cup third round tie. Brentford 0, Arsenal 1. We are closing in on that fourth round. We're closing. It's going to be good. We are looking forward to the next round almost now. Can almost feel us in that draw. Let's see who we might get. But we need to get this game finished first. There's still a little bit of time left. We've still got some work to do. And I say Brentford have been dangerous in the second half. There's no doubt about that. And if you look at the game as a whole over the 90 minutes, a draw probably would be a fair result. Probably, with the chances that there's been with a balance of play, it probably would be. But hopefully we can see this off. We're coming forward again. Eddie Nketiah finds Zinchenko over on that far side. Are we going to get the second goal now? Ball goes back to El Neni. Is he going to shoot? He does shoot. It's just wide. He's got a few good goals for Arsenal over the years, El Neni, hasn't he? He doesn't score many, but they're usually spectacular. And he did score one last season, didn't he, in the FA Cup against Oxford, you remember? Which was a nice goal, wasn't it? But that one was always curling wide. Colonel says there, El Neni is seriously underrated for me. I feel he would start a lot of clubs in the league. He probably would, but he's not good enough for Arsenal, is he? Eddie Nketiah is finally going off with 4 minutes to play. And Cedric Suarez is coming on. I said there'd be another defensive change if it was still 1-0. Eddie goes off. Cedric Suarez comes on. And we haven't seen Cedric Suarez for a while, have we? I'm amazed he's still at Arsenal, actually. I've got to be honest. He had a loan spell, didn't he? And he's still here, Cedric. Fair play to you, mate. Not sure what you're doing, and you never play, but you're going to get yourself 4 or 5 minutes here at the end of this game to help us see this through. And it's nice to see him playing again, isn't it? Even though we're never going to see him again, probably. But we'll see. Off-road says El Neni is a faithful club player, but he's not what we need to challenge for titles. Exactly, you're right. He's not, is he? That's what I'm saying. He's not a good enough player, is he? Defo done more than Havertz now. What, by shooting wide? Didn't Havertz have a shot earlier on as well that didn't trouble the goalkeeper? So they're sort of on equal terms at the minute, aren't they? Those two. Anyway, the ball is with the Brentford goalkeeper. Plays out to that far side. We are coming down to sort of now or never for Brentford, aren't we? If they're going to keep themselves in this cup competition and take this tie to penalties, it's going to be something late, and especially if they're going to do it, or can Arsenal hold on? We've certainly had a lot of defending to do in the second half, which we've done really well. And we're on the brink of a third consecutive 1-0 away win as well, which is pretty good, isn't it? A bit like the George Graham days, isn't it? Colonel says, I'm in agreement with Cedric robbing a living on a prayer. He definitely is. Terry says, scraping a barrel tonight, half these players shouldn't be here. Well, certainly there's a few that shouldn't be. You're absolutely right. But anyway, it's where we are. We're back again with the Brentford goalkeeper. We're into the last 2 minutes of normal time. We've got 2 minutes to hang on, and we'll be going through to the next round. Or ball over the top, and Whistler's in again. Good defending. Whistler holds the ball up. He's certainly been lively, hasn't he? Even if he can't shoot straight. Anyway, a cross comes in, but it's over hit. And Cedric's going to see that out. It's going to be a throw to Brentford, and they're going to take a long throw, as they always have done. I mean, Whistler's had a good game, actually. He's just missed some chances, hasn't he? You have to say he could have scored 4 goals tonight, and he hasn't got any. But anyway, he's definitely been a danger man, hasn't he? But they've got a long throw now, and no doubt it'll be, if they do score an equaliser in these last couple of minutes, it will be Whistler who gets it, I'll guarantee. Anyway, this long throw comes into the near post. It's flicked on. Arsenal again get it away the first time, but not really convincingly. But now we can. And now we've got an opportunity. Cedric actually on the counter-attack. Imagine him getting a goal. Wouldn't that be something? But he's actually lost the ball, which was maybe a little less surprising. Alfredo says the only decent player we bought from Chelsea that played well for us was John Hollins. Yeah, John Hollins, what a player he was. Unbelievable, wasn't he? And we got him right at the end of his career as well. I thought Petr Cech did well for Arsenal, actually. He did all right, didn't he? As well. But, yeah, most of the Chelsea players that we've got haven't exactly filled us with joy, have they? Anyway, Brentford trying to come forward. Good tackle there again, though. That was from... Actually, I'm not sure who that was from, actually. But anyway, Arsenal picked up possession with Gabriel. And he goes long. It's headed clear, though, by the Brentford defender. There's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time. We've got 5 minutes to hang on. 5 minutes and we're through to the next round. And can we start dreaming of a nice cup run? We've not had a domestic cup run for a while, have we? A decent one. It'd be nice to get one, wouldn't it? But let's see. We still need to see this out for 5 minutes yet. Brentford will still fancy their chances because they've had 1 or 2 big opportunities in the second half. Well, maybe 3 or 4 big opportunities, which all seem to have fallen to Johan Wissa, and none of which, fortunately, have ended up in the back of our net. Anyway, they brought on, of course, he's the other substitute, Ola Gati, who came on a bit earlier. And we're just into stoppage time now. So we've got 5 minutes left of this Carabao Cup 4th round tie. Let's see if we can hold on. Oh, well, Nenny's given the ball away. And Brentford now with another opportunity, maybe. Good defending again, though, from Arsenal. And Martin Ødegaard steps in, lays the ball off to Tomiyasu. He plays it up the near side. It's a good ball. Kai Havertz is there, holds the ball up well. Decent ball into midfield. Arsenal going to get a second goal on a counter-attack now. Shot comes in from Martin Ødegaard. It's blocked, though. It's going to go behind for a corner to Arsenal, and that's where we want the ball in these last few minutes. And that was a good counter-attack from Arsenal, actually, and it was Ødegaard's shot that was deflected there. Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson in conversation on the bench now, both having gone off. Both contributed well to this game, to this victory tonight. Arsenal going to take a short corner and try and keep it in that corner in front of those Arsenal fans behind that goal, away to our right. Arsenal's in no rush to take it. Jesus just touches it off now. Havertz are going to try and keep it by that corner flag. We have managed to do that. Jesus now into Ødegaard. Now we've got a chance to get the ball in the box, have we? Oh, it's a poor ball, actually. Well, that's a poor clearance. Comes out to El Neni. Tips it back into the box, and Cedric Suarez was there. All the goalkeepers made a bit of a mistake. Cedric Suarez inside the box. Can he put a cross in? He does to the far post, El Neni. Oh, this is like 2016 again. Anyway, Brentford do manage to survive. And in fact, they launch a long ball forward looking for a counter attack, but it goes out. We've played 2.5 minutes of stoppage time, 2.5 left to play. Suarez and El Neni there having a little bit of fun, and a rare opportunity for them to play for the first team. They may get another opportunity if we get through this round, because they may well play a part in the next round as well, mightn't they? Depending on who we play, of course, and where it is. We'll have to wait and see what the draw brings us, but we've still got to see this through for these last couple of minutes. And then we'll be there home and dry and enjoying ourselves in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Anyway, Brentford are coming forward again. That's another long ball over the top. Tomiyasu's under a bit of pressure, but he gets there, does well. Good defending there from Tomiyasu. Another player that hasn't played enough minutes this season, but he's done all right tonight, hasn't he? He's done pretty well. In fact, everybody's played okay tonight, haven't they? The referee there, I'm not quite sure what he was doing, but it's going to be another long throw. The goalie's coming up. Flecken is coming up for this long throw. Brentford are throwing everything at us now as they look for this equaliser. And the big goalkeeper, the Dutchman, is inside the penalty area now. We know what's going to happen here. It's a long throw that's going to be flicked on. And these are better than corners for Brentford, aren't they? Do you remember when Arsenal used to struggle at Stoke with these? It comes in again. It's a big Arsenal head, but again, we don't really get it clear. The second header comes in, but it's a nice, comfortable save from Aaron Ramsdale. He falls on the ball, and Gabriel celebrates as though he's just scored. And Arsenal are nearly there. We've got a minute left of stoppage time. And it's a big win for Arsenal, this will be. It'd be a good result, a really good result. And not what I was expecting it, actually. When I looked at the team, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe Brentford was slightly stronger, but Arsenal have done well tonight. We've defended well, and we got the goal at a good time as well, very early in the game to settle us in. But we've still got one more attack to defend, have we? No, because Martin Ødegaard comes across, puts out for a throw. This throws inside Brentford's own half. So they're not going to be able to launch it into our penalty area. There's 30 seconds of stoppage time remaining. The ball is still in the Brentford half, which is where it needs to be. Goes back to goalkeeper Flecken. He's going to come forward and launch it into towards that Arsenal penalty, which he does. It's a long ball, but Arsenal going to get there. Tomiyasu it is. Boots it up the pitch. And a few more seconds tick away. We're nearly there. We are nearly there. But Brentford now coming forward again. It's another long ball. Lofted forward. Again, it's an Arsenal head there. Gabriel, but it's another throw. This will be it now. This is going to be the last throw. of the dice for Brentford. The cross comes in. It's a dangerous ball again. It's around the box. Arsenal just managed to get it out. A shot comes in. It's hit the crossbar. In fact, the flag was up anyway. In Buemo it was. And in fact, I think that's a full-time whistle gone. It is. We've done it. We've got through somehow. Wasn't the most convincing of Arsenal performances or victories, but it doesn't matter in a knockout competition. It's all about the result. The very, very early goal it was from Reiss Nelson. Mistake at the back from Brentford. Eddie Nketiah latched onto it, pulled the ball back, and Reiss Nelson took his time, slotted it into the corner. We had a couple of opportunities to get a second goal, didn't we? Smith Rowe, a good one, and goalkeeper saved well. But in the second half, it was really all about Brentford attacks and Arsenal defence. And Arsenal held on. A couple of good saves from Aaron Ramsdale. One particular from Wissa's effort, which he pushed onto the post, was perhaps the match-winning moment in the end for Arsenal. But it was a bit of a nervy second half. It was quite exciting at times. It was a decent game, actually. I enjoyed it. And it's even better that we've managed to come through. We are in to the next round. And that's going to be good. Offo says a bit of a nervy win. Watch us get Man City or Liverpool in the next round. Well, Man City, in our verge of going out because they're losing 1-0 at Newcastle to Isak's goal. So maybe they might go out actually. So we might not be able to get. We might not be able to get a Man City next round. Liverpool potentially, of course, we could. Although it wasn't. How were they getting on tonight? They're beating Leicester 3-1. In fact, they beat Leicester 3-1. So they're through. West Ham are through. They've beaten Lincoln 1-0. Bournemouth beat Stoke. Everton are winning 2-1 at Aston Villa. Wow, Kamara's pulled a late goal back for them. Terry says, few Brentford wasted some good chances. That they did. I thought we defended well, actually. Regenda says, I'm disappointed with Arsenal's performance and all of the attacks on Havertz is affecting his game, and now he does not shoot. Yeah, he looked lacking in confidence. There's one in the first half where, a confident Kai Havertz probably puts that away. But he's got to overcome that, hasn't he? That's what, when you play for a top team, you've got to expect pressure. You've got to expect expectation on you, and you've got to be able to deal with it. And he's a top player. He's played at top clubs. He's won Champions League. He's got to be able to deal with that better, hasn't he? Man City losing. They are losing. They're losing 1-0 to Newcastle. There's still 8 minutes to play there because they kicked off a bit later. They kicked off at 8 o'clock, didn't they? So yes, Newcastle are beating Man City 1-0, which is a bit of a shock, isn't it? It's Isak with the goal there. So Aston Villa have lost to Everton 2-1. Bournemouth have beaten Stoke 2-0. Actually, we'll get the goal scorers up for you. It was Garner and Calvert-Lewin for Everton. Kamara pulled the goal back for Aston Villa, but it was too late. Blackburn are beating Cardiff 5-2. Wow, what a game that looks like it is. Bournemouth beat Stoke 2-0. Solanke and Rothwell with their goals. Obviously, Arsenal have won 1-0. Chelsea have won 1-0 against Brighton. Jackson with their goal. Finally, Chelsea win a game. Fulham have beaten Norwich 2-1. Carlos Vinicius and Iwobi scored for Fulham, and Sainz got a goal for Norwich. Lincoln 0, West Ham 1. Souček with that goal. Liverpool are losing at half-time to Leicester with a goal from McAteer, but in the second half, Gakpo, Sobolski and Jota scored for them, and Newcastle are beating Manchester City 1-0. That game is still going on. Offroad says, I'll take Everton in the next round. Yeah, I'll take Everton next round. I'll take Blackburn, actually. Blackburn would be a good away game, wouldn't it? They've beaten Cardiff 5-2. I'll take Fulham. That wouldn't be bad, would it? We can beat Fulham. But yeah, we'll see anyway. We win the next round. That's the main thing. We can look forward to the draw. I don't know when the draw is, but anyway, we'll look out for that, and we can be excited and see who we get. Which is going to be good, isn't it? We could get Man United, of course, who won yesterday, didn't they? Who else won yesterday? There was a couple of games yesterday, wasn't there? Middlesbrough won, Exeter won, Ipswich beat Wolves, Mansfield beat Peterborough, Port Vale beat Sutton, Burnley won 4-0 at Salford, and of course Man United. So yeah, there's a few nice looking ties there we could potentially get. We'll have to see. Rajendra says, we have not given him any expectation, only negative vibes, and these supporters don't know what that will mean to us, and we will start losing just so they can say, I said so. That's not support. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's expectation on him. We've paid £65 million for him. He's come from Chelsea. He's won the Champions League. So, of course, there's expectation there. There's expectation on the player that's coming for that amount of money to do well. Of course there is. And so far he hasn't done. And yes, he's been getting some criticisms, I would say rightly so in some respects, because his performances haven't been at the level that they should be at, that we expect them to be at. But, I mean, while he's on the pitch, you know, we should support him, of course. But it doesn't mean we can't criticise him when he's not performing. And he hasn't exactly been setting the world on fire, has he? He's been given plenty of opportunities as well. We've got another 90 minutes tonight. He was very hit and miss in that game, wasn't he? As he's been in most games. He does some nice things and he disappears for 25 minutes at a time. And for 65 million, you expect more, don't you? You do. And I'm sure he expects more from himself. So he says 300 grand a week. I don't think Havertz cares a monkeys. Otherwise, he would show us what Arteta sees in him. I mean, he's got a style of play that maybe, I don't know, isn't going to be endearing him to too many people just because he's quite laid back, isn't he, on the pitch? But anyway, I mean, you know, we've got him now. He's going to be with us for the foreseeable future, and we've just got to hope that he starts performing better and starts living up to that price tag a little bit more, and then we'll all be happy, won't we? But it doesn't mean we can't criticise him if he doesn't do that. You know, any player isn't devoid of criticism, regardless. You know, we're Arsenal. We've got to expect our players to perform better and perform well. And if they're not doing so, we've got a right to say they're not. But obviously support them while they're in the team. Regenda says then, why is he in the team for Germany? Have you seen what a mess Germany are in at the moment? I don't necessarily think that's. I mean, Harry Maguire's in the England team. Does that mean Harry Maguire is a great player because he's playing for England? Well, no, it doesn't. So we can't really use that as an explanation as to how good he is or not. He's in his international team, but players sometimes get picked. Regenda says, be a flop like Pepe. Well, he might well be. But Pepe might have been a flop, but he still scored a lot of goals for Arsenal. And he helped us win the FA Cup, didn't he? So I wouldn't say Pepe was a total flop. He wasn't as good as we hoped he would be. And it didn't quite work for him. But he certainly scored a lot of goals, didn't he, for the club? And he helped us win a trophy. So, you know, we've got to look at the positives from that perspective, I suppose. But yeah, it didn't work out for him, did it? Of course not. And we understand that, and that's the way it is. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Actually, Newcastle game is coming into the last few minutes now. So should we? I'm going to switch over to that because this is finished now on here. That's on Sky, isn't it? Let me just have a look and see if we can see. Where are we? Sky Sports. Here we go. Do we know what channel Sky it's on? I'd assume it's on Main Event, isn't it? You would assume it is. But it is, yeah. It is still 1-0 to Newcastle, of course, who reached the final last year, didn't they? There's 3 minutes to play. We might as well watch the end of this, actually, because why not? It could be quite exciting. And if Man City are out, of course, it increases our chances. Regenda says that we've not lost a game yet. No, we haven't. We haven't always played particularly well, but we're racking up results, and that's good. Long may that continue. Man City are in possession here against Newcastle. We're into the last 2 minutes of normal time. They're coming forward actually on this near side with Doku. Looks a good player, doesn't he? Can Man City score and take it to penalties, or will Newcastle go through? That'd be a nice away game, wouldn't it? Newcastle away in the 4th round. There's quite a few interesting looking away games. No doubt we'll get a home tie against Exeter or somebody. Which will be a bit boring, wouldn't it? But anyway, let's see if Man City are going out. Regenda says Havertz has been in each of those teams. Yeah, he has, but is he the reason why we're unbeaten? I would say no. But anyway, Doku goes around the outside, puts a cross in. Oh, inside the area, there was a chance for Man City, actually. It was Joe Linton, by the look of it, who defended that. And Man City still in possession. Newcastle look as though they're holding on a bit. I don't know whether or not this has been the tail of the second half, but Doku again on this near side. Man City looking to find this equaliser, take this game to penalties. It's a shot on the edge of the box. Oh, just wide, actually. That was close for Manchester City. It was that young man, what's his name? is it not Rico Henry? He plays for Brentford, doesn't he? Lewis or whatever it is. That was a good effort, actually. Just went wide of the post. Man City looking for an equaliser, but we're into the last 30 seconds of normal time. And Tonali's just going off for Newcastle. And who's coming on? Elliot Anderson's coming on. One of their young players from their academy. We're going to see how much stoppage time there is here. Are Newcastle going to be joining us in the fourth round? Or will Manchester City find an equaliser? Bearing in mind, they've not lost yet this season, have they, in any competition? There's going to be 6 minutes of stoppage time, 6 minutes to play. So it's going to be a tense one, isn't it? I'm sure. Our Man City going out. Terry says the only game we played well in was against PSV. And how did Havertz do in that game? Well, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. And that is the only game we've really played well. You're right. We've played well in bits and pieces of games, haven't we? But we've not played well for a full game. That was the best we've played, actually, all season. You're right. Anyway, coming up on the channel, just so you're aware, is we've still got a lot happening this week. On Friday, we've got there's a night off tomorrow for me. I've been busy this week. Tomorrow's the night off. Friday, we've got the Arsenal women's show with the guys looking ahead to the start of the WSL season. Of course, Arsenal play Liverpool on Sunday. So we're going to preview the season. We're going to look at Arsenal's match against Liverpool and look at who to look out for this season, which teams are going to be challenging Arsenal for the title in the WSL. So that's all coming up Friday at 7:30. So please join me for that. Saturday, of course, it's Bournemouth away. We are going to be there giving you the watch along of that game as well. 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, unusually. So we'll be here at 2:45 with all the build-up, team news, and of course the full match commentary as always. So please join us for that on Saturday afternoon. Of course, Sunday is what we've been waiting a long time for, the start of the WSL. That is what we're going to be doing on Sunday. That game kicks off at 2 o'clock, so we'll be at 2:45 with a bit of build-up, of course, all the team news, and then again the full watch-along of that game on Sunday. So a busy few days here. And of course, next week it's just the same, isn't it? On Tuesday, it's the Longs game in the Champions League. We'll be covering that one for you. And of course, then there'll be more action from the WSL next Friday. Arsenal playing Manchester United away. And of course, next weekend there's actually, isn't it? Oh no, it's the Man City game, isn't it? Of course, our Man City at the Emirates. So yeah, lots coming up in a couple of weeks. So definitely join us for that. Off-road says League Cup highlights not on TV till midnight. Can I be bothered? Well, I'm not going to be bothered. So it's up to you, mate. I wouldn't personally. I'm just watching the end of this game here, and that'll be my lot for the evening. Terry says, come on, you Gooner girls, save the club again. Yeah, well, let's hope so. We've got a great chance this season without Europe to really go for that league title, and let's hope we can do it. But it all starts on Sunday. And for those who follow the channel will know that we love the Arsenal women. We love women's football, actually. We went to watch along last night of the Lionesses against Holland, and we were at the Lionesses game on Friday against Scotland. We went to a few of the Euros games. We were at the Emirates for the Arsenal women's game. So yeah, we're a big, we follow the women's football as well. So we've been looking forward to the start of the WSL season now, and it's coming around this weekend. Tino Livramento has just been given player of the match actually for Newcastle. I haven't obviously seen the game, so I don't know how well he's played, but it's his first game, isn't it? Good young player, of course, he bought from Southampton. Tino Livramento, and he's looks like he's made a decent debut. And Newcastle bringing on Fabian Schär for these last few minutes. He's having a little bit of a joke there with Pep on the sideline. Paul Dummett's going off, a rare appearance for him actually for Newcastle. The one thing with the Carabao Cup, it does bring out some players that don't often play, don't get many minutes in the Premier League. Paul Dummett hasn't played for ages, has he? He's limping off there, probably with cramp, I would imagine. And Fabian Schär coming on for these last few minutes here to help Newcastle see this game out and get rid of the favourites, really, because they're pretty much favourites for everything that they enter. Of course, they did win this trophy, 3 or 4 years in a row, didn't they? Except last year, they obviously went out, and they're on the verge of going out again very early on against Newcastle, which will be a little bit of a shock result, maybe. But there's still time for Man City to get an equaliser and take this to penalties. Newcastle, of course, on their way to the final last season, came through a penalty shootout, didn't they, on their way, I believe. So they've done it before, but there's only 90 seconds left of stoppage time. There'll be a little bit extra now for those substitutions there that we've just seen. So we're going to stay with this until the end of this game. Man City on the verge of going out of the Carabao Cup and Arsenal going through. So one of the, when you think about it, if we take this competition seriously, when you look at the teams that's left in it, how many do we need to be really worried about? Yes, Liverpool away would be a tough draw. Of course it would. But, we've got a decent chance now if Man City do lose this game. Yeah, Newcastle away is a difficult game and there's other difficult games as well. But we're Arsenal and we should be able to beat most of these teams left in it now. But let's see what happens. Anyway, Man City are coming forward. This might well be their last opportunity to try to take this to penalties and salvage the competition. But that's not a great ball. Newcastle should be able to defend this, and they do with Elliot Anderson. It's going to be a throw, which Man City have taken quickly into the last 30 seconds of stoppage time. Newcastle are going to hold on, and Man City will be out, which will be good, won't it? And the Newcastle fans are cheering their team to what would be a famous victory. They've had a good week, Newcastle, haven't they? That 8-0 victory the other day was something special, wasn't it? You don't often see results like that. The 8 different goal scorers as well. Man City now coming forward, but that's not a great ball. And Doku's fast, but he's not getting that one. And it's gone behind for a throw. We've played over the 6 minutes now. And I think Pep knows his League Cup dreams are over. And of course, Newcastle got to the final last year where they were really disappointing, wasn't they, at Wembley? And I'm sure they'll want to try to revenge that this season and get there again and win it. So anyway, they're a few seconds away now from what would be a big victory for them, of course. Beating Man City in any... Yes, Man City probably aren't looking on this as a priority for their season. They didn't last year, did they, really? And they still won the other 3. But even so, they're not going to want to lose. And they're coming forward now to try and salvage it. Cross comes into the box, headed away, though, by Lascelles. It's going to be another throw to Man City. We've played 7 minutes. In fact, there goes a full-time whistle. It's over. Man City are out. Wow. Well done, Newcastle. I didn't see the game, but well played, Newcastle. They are through to the next round, as indeed are we. So that's good news, isn't it? So the final tie has been completed. Newcastle 1, Man City 0. Brilliant stuff. Offro says that when Newcastle do win a trophy, their fans have been so starved, they'll be like wasps. You won't be able to get rid of them. Yeah, no, you're right. They'll enjoy it, won't they? Without a shadow of a doubt. They got excited last year getting to the final when they lost. So imagine if they do win a trophy, it'll be bedlam, won't it? Anyway, Isaac is the hero tonight. Alexander Isaac with a goal. Let's put Newcastle through. And I don't know when the draw is, but we'll look forward to it now because we're in it. Anyway, that's it now. It's getting late. Pep's moaning at the referee. What a surprise. He's a nice guy, isn't he? You got to love Pep, haven't you? He's not very happy, is he? But anyway, he's like it every time they lose, isn't he? But you show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. That's how it is, isn't it? No one should be happy losing. And he isn't. And he's applauding the Newcastle players, though, which is nice to see. Anyway, well, that's it then. So Arsenal did win. We won 1-0 at Brentford. The goal seems like it was about 4 hours ago, doesn't it? But it actually wasn't. It was after 8 minutes, Reece Nelson with it. And we held on. A lot of pressure in the second half on Brentford. We defended well. They missed some chances and we saw it through. So we are through to the 4th round. We'll look and see what the draw is. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to our new subscriber as well. Offro, good to see you. Hopefully see you Saturday. Yeah, hopefully see you Saturday, mate. We look forward to that. So yeah, we'll be back. I'll be back on Friday actually for the women's show. So if you like women's football, you like the Arsenal women, and you want to look at a WSL season preview, come and join us for that. That's going to be really good. 7:30 on Friday. Saturday we're here for the watch along. Of course, it is Bournemouth against Arsenal. 2:45 we'll be here. Join us for that. Sunday, of course, the WSL start of the season. 2:45 we'll be here for that one. We're looking forward to that as well. A big week on the channel it's been. And more great stuff to come. So yeah, thank you for watching tonight. Give us a like before you go. Arsenal got through in the end. A tight game, difficult game. It did 1-0 to the Arsenal, of course. Famous score that we like. So brilliant stuff. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. And I will see you on Friday and, of course, Saturday as well. Terry says, off-road, good to have you in the chat. Stay safe and healthy and see you soon. Indeed, yeah, we always like to see new people on the channel, so it's good to have you with us. And I say we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thank you very much for joining us. I will see you on Friday if you're around for that. And I say on a weekend for some 2 more big watch-alongs. Come on, you Gunners. We are in the 4th round. We are going to Wembley, maybe. We certainly have a chance, aren't we? So thanks for watching, guys. I will see you soon. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Ta-ra.